Welcome into another Sunday Night Pop Blender, Unfiltered number 52. How you guys doing tonight, guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen? We got a lot of stuff to go over tonight. Got a lot of videos to play. Got a lot of headlines to read. You guys let me know if I'm sounding okay to you, and I'll let you know if you're sounding okay to me. Which you guys always do. You guys always sound great to me. So sound off whatever you want. This is a free speech platform. The one and only thing that I don't really care for is threats, stuff like that. I think that's a given. But other than that, this is a free marketplace of ideas. And when somebody talks and brings in an idea, brings in a different point of view, I like to at least respond to it or look at it and discuss it if we have time. And we've got some time tonight, so hopefully you guys have had a great week, a great weekend. As always, I had dad duty yesterday and son duty. Took my mom out to see my son's band competition. They were fantastic. A long day, a hot day, but if you have kids, I encourage you to participate in everything you can, even if you are the every other weekend dad or parent, mom, whatever it is. I encourage you. Try to make everything you can if you can. I've crafted my schedule at work so that I've been able to do that for the last several years during those very formative years. I got to juice up, man. But anyway, so yeah, good weekend. Good stuff, man. Good to see you guys rolling in, as always. And even have some new stuff saved, because I keep getting stuff. You guys have been sending me stuff, screenshots and links and all that stuff. I've tried to save as much as I can. I have a ton of stuff. So I want to kind of get in from the beginning. Before we do that, obviously I'm going to say hello to you, but I definitely want to get in kind of on the beginning. Not the beginning, but kind of what we've learned about the shooter, what we've learned about the roommate, and things of that nature. So that's kind of where we're going to go, and then I'm going to share some headlines. We're going to watch some videos and kind of see where this thing is kind of spiraled to at this point and everything we've learned. But in the meantime, one little thing that I want to do before I hit you guys up, and you guys tell me, man, did you have a good week, a good weekend? Aside from obviously the topic tonight, you guys, throw it in there. What did you do this week? Was there anything fun? Was it, anything this weekend that you got into? New comics, new toys, new music, watched a new show, new movie, whatever. You guys tell me so I get to know a little bit about what y'all did this week. And we're going to take our time, if that's okay. I am this week, however, going to introduce once again the lovely, the talented Otis McDonald and the band. Give it up, folks. Big O. Saving something actually right now. Oh yeah. Feel the funk. Nice relaxing groove after a weekend. That's right. Let's bring it down, Otis. Let's bring it down a little bit. There we go. All right. Let me save one thing in here that there we go. And there we go. All right. I'm going to get to y'all's comments momentarily and say hello to those of you lovely people out there. Let's see. There we go. That's what I needed. All right. Well, there's a thunderstorm rolling through a little while ago. I was a little worried we're going to lose power. So if that does happen, I'll try to jump on my phone, but it won't be quite as effective. All right, here we go. Comments rolling in. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Johnny Reno says, let's do this, pound, baby. Same time, Toy Shane, let's rock. Let's see. Well, that was me. Gun Bunny Customs is in the house. Menjoza is here. Not Menjoza. Menjoza. I love the Joe. It's good call there on the name, dude. It's fantastic. As everybody here absolutely loves it. Let's see here. Want to make sure I didn't miss Joe Fan 84. What's up, buddy? Always, man. Good to see you. 3-star draw, hanging out on a Sunday night, getting ready for the dreaded work week. I'm sure. Definitely. He's got a stream coming up this Wednesday with Krusty Old Crow. Seven's Wild. Check it out. You guys know what's up. Let's see here. Joe Fan 84 says, I moved 265 miles to be near my son. Bango, bango, boom. Gave up my comfort to not miss him growing up. I love to hear that. Absolutely love to hear that. War Chest is here as well. What's up, War Chest? Good to see you, man. Let's see. Yeah, Joe Fan, over the weekend. Demon Slayer at the theater. Awesome call. And then, yes, very important, take your dad to the colonoscopy. We cannot stress that enough, as I had one just a couple of years ago. I'll be doing like 3 years. Let's see, Mexican Grill, make some tamales, rock and roll. Hang on, are you talking about a girl, War Chest? Let's see, you got in a lot of trouble. How'd you get in a lot of trouble for that? Oh, well, I don't know. You're supposed to come here. Clint Jorgensen is here. What's up, Clint? Good to see you. Big Miss Katie Larson, bartender extraordinaire. Yeah, good to see you here too, girl. Definitely. And you let me know anytime. Anytime you text me or you let me know anything that's on your mind, you know I'm here to listen to you per our conversation last week, for sure. 3-star says, did laundry, finally watched Superman, mowed the yard, and worked on the Tuco Viper video. Yeah, that's a busy weekend, my friend. Busy weekend. Loves Mules is here, listening and driving. Yes, driving your life away. That's a long way to go, baby. But at least I know how far it is for you. Yeah, Joe Fan, you wake up from it. And you wake up from going to see the doctor for the colonoscopy, and bing, bang, boom, you're good, right? You're good. You wake up, and the next thing you know, you're back at home and taking your pictures or reading your comics, whatever. Okay, so as people roll in, I will do my best to star them. You guys say a prayer for Matthew if you can. Going through some tough stuff right now. For sure, and probably on the road, I would guess. So you guys definitely say a prayer for him. It's yeah, tough stuff to deal with parents and everything, and you know he's got a lot on his plate. So I don't know if he'll be joining me Tuesday night. I hope he does, but I understand if he doesn't, and wouldn't blame him one bit if I had to run that one solo. That'll be okay. But you guys, T's and P's for Matthew Matson. The prep is the worst, Joe Fan. I can't argue with that, for sure. Johnny Reno rolling in. Like I said, I want to know what you guys did this week. Hope you guys don't mind hearing about it. I know you can read it in the chat, but I don't mind speaking it out loud. Spent the week opening up new job positions for people. Okay, that's good and bad, right? Good and bad. New job positions, that's opportunity for some. Maybe that's a lost opportunity for others, or if it's a new business or new position altogether, then it's all brand new and you're creating opportunities, and I love that. Speaking of opportunities, we've had the opportunity over the last week plus to learn some information, to digest everything that happened. I think that's something I miss from the way we used to get our news. The way we used to get our news through the newspaper, not saying anything about biases and stuff like that. I'm just saying it gave us time to sit and think on and discuss things without the emotion part so heavily involved as it is today. The instant sharing. And also, let's not kid ourselves, because we're all guilty of it. When we make posts, when we post pictures, when we take pictures of everything, we also are part of that instant gratification, right? So I'm guilty of it. Anybody that's seen me on Facebook or anything like that knows I'm guilty as well of jumping in and letting emotion kind of, dictate my posts in a way, right? My comments, for better or for worse. Now, on one hand, I appreciate the honesty, but I feel like it'd be better if we were able to really kind of sit with things for at least a few hours, maybe longer, before we jumped in and joined the fray as far as emotionally charged commenting and posting. Now, all that aside, now that we've had time to digest, I want to get into what we've learned and see if the media is helping or hurting or trying to report some of these things in an honest fashion. Both sides. We don't find much in the middle in the media, but both sides of the media. We do know, as far as facts, as far as Tyler Robinson, okay? So these are some of the things, according to investigators and family, that have been reported. As Clint says, I bought the Lego Arkham Asylum set yesterday. Pretty pumped. I would be too. And it probably cost you a pretty penny, Clint. Joe Fan 84 says I'll be in Nashville December 27th, 28th. Let us know. Let us know, and we'll see if we can meet up with you, buddy. That'd be fun. Okay. So, according to statements from his family to investigators relayed by Utah Governor Spencer Cox and law enforcement sources, they described Robinson as having become more political in recent years. Well, that's not unusual. That's not unusual for a lot of us, right? And shifting towards far-left activism. Specifically, during a recent family dinner, he expressed strong dislike for Charlie Kirk, calling him full of hate and spreading hate, and referencing his upcoming event at Utah Valley University. Family members also noted that he had rejected the values he was raised with, which we've come to learn his family is more conservative in nature. And, sometimes we see it with families. Like, if you grow up in a family that's really hardcore one way, a lot of times, if there's multiple kids, you'll see at least one of those kids rebel and go the complete opposite direction, whatever that means. If it's one kid, depending on the level of involvement in politics, to me, I think you'd follow more what your parents align with. Especially if you're close to your parents. But with multiple kids, I'd say the chances are good that one of them is going to break off from that pattern, right? And it says that here he voiced intense anti-conservative views, aligning with far-left ideologies like anti-fascism. And we're going to get into the fascism thing a little bit. The shift reportedly involved online activity in Antifa Discord servers. Discord claimed they did not know or have knowledge of any pre-planning, pre-planning or anything of that nature. Okay, let's see. He was radicalized against figures like Kirk, whom he viewed as a fascist. Again, most of the people who use that term can't even actually tell you what it means. They can't describe it at all. Evidence at the scene included bullets engraved with Antifa slogans. Now, a lot of people said those slogans were far right. The left-wing media really ran with he was a ultra MAGA supporter. That got somebody in trouble that we very well know, and we will get into the Jimmy Kimmel story. Anti-fascist rhetoric and pro-trans messaging supports this, okay? So the bullets engraved with the Antifa slogan supports the evidence. The family did not, bold type, describe him as remaining conservative. Instead, they highlighted his recent turn to far-left extremism as a break from their Republican upbringing, which included early exposure to guns. So a lot of people saw the pictures of him with guns and stuff like that. What's up, Turk Murphy's Toy Solutions? How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Sent me some great stuff here. So as we've seen the media, they tried to spin it as in, oh, he's got guns. There was a fake Halloween picture of him with just a T-shirt on. You know, it had some kind of Trump slogan on it. That was made up. That was not real. So the early exposure to guns is neither here nor there. That's not a conservative thing. That's not a liberal thing. That's not a far right or far left thing. I mean, I guess in some instances, yes. But ultimately, having guns doesn't designate what political party you're affiliated with, right? I think we can all agree on that. Okay. So far, those are kind of the facts we've known. Those are the things that we found out about. All right. Now, I want to get into the text messages, right? Because if you've been keeping up, you've read or heard the text messages that he texts to his roommate. But before we get into that, I want to get into the roommate. So, evidently, the roommate has been extremely cooperative with authorities. Personally, I find it way too easy, but I won't discount the fact that the roommate, the lover, really, didn't have prior knowledge, had not discussed this, had no inkling that this kid may have kind of fallen off the deep end at this point. Okay, let's see here really quickly. I do want to get into the chat and just make sure that, let's see, Dreadnought K6. Okay, are you believing mainstream narrative after they said his bones stopped a 30-06? No. You have to, okay, Dreadnought, before you start jumping off the bridge, okay, let's get something straight. I am reading the information we've given. I also discuss the information and determine for myself what I believe. I am just providing the information, okay? I haven't said anything about believing anything. So let's just get that straight right off the top, okay? Before we dive head first, all right? Got a lot of stuff to cover, got a lot of information. I'm going to give my opinion on what I believe and what I don't believe. You know that. You know that about me. Everybody in this chat knows that about me. So I want to make it perfectly clear before we start going hard in, okay? I'm a person that takes the information in, digests the information, divulges the information to the audience. We discuss it. People make up their own opinions, okay? And I know your opinions are strong, and I appreciate that. But before we start going there, let's just take in the information. Let's discuss it, okay? And then we'll get there, right? We'll get there. Don't you worry. We'll get there. But we got a lot to discuss, right? A lot to discuss. That's first and foremost, because I don't believe the mainstream media. But I also have to take in what I'm being given and then discuss what I do and don't believe, right? 3-star draw says early exposure to guns is an American thing. Exactly. Yes, it is an American thing, right? It's neither left, right, here, nor there. It is an American thing, and it's passed down. That you could be a hunter, you could just enjoy guns in general, just enjoy the mechanisms of how they work, the sound, right? There's so many things about guns, but either way, it's neither a right or left thing when it comes to guns. It's the idea about having them and or how you deploy them, uh, so on and so forth, right? So let's see here really quickly. Katie Larson says, feels like a cover up to me. I don't believe it for a second. Right. And we're going to get into that with the text messages. I'm going to bring up after we discuss the roommate/lover. All right. Definitely. And listen, don't worry. Don't you worry, brother. I love you. I want you to stick around because I appreciate your opinions. That's why I said it's a free marketplace. But, let's take it in. Let me present it, and then we'll get there. Trust me, we'll get there. But again, I appreciate your opinions, and I definitely don't want to listen, Dreadnought. I'm not concerned with anybody hijacking my stream. The only person that can hijack my stream is me. So don't you worry about that. Okay? Don't you worry about that. I promise you that. I'm the only person who can hijack it. Crusty Old Crow is in the house. What's up, buddy? Let's see here. Really quickly, I want to... Yes, getting back to this, Katie. Yeah, when we go over the text messages, I'm going to read them to you guys. I also want you to listen to how they're presented over a microphone. Okay? Because I even listening to it, it's like, if you just listen to it, but you really don't read them, I could see where people would maybe be kind of fooled by the representation of these messages. And I'll tell you my thoughts on the text messages, right? Let's see here. It smells fishy to me, but I'm just a glorified auto mechanic. No. I think you and Dreadnought are really, and Katie, are really kind of on the right track here. I really do. I really feel like you guys are on the right track. 100%. Let's see here. So War Chest says, I call bullshit on that roommate lover crap. We all know Mr. Farley would never let them live together unless they were married or gay. Wait a minute. They're not married, but let's see. Yeah. No, there's no Mr. Furley in today's world, right, War Chest? Bobby Wolf says, with your internet problems, I don't think anybody wants to hijack your stream. Yeah, you could be right about that. Hopefully, we're not going to have some tonight. Let's see here. And one time, Snakes hijacked a plane with Samuel Jackson. That was a bad idea. I think all of us agree hijacking anything with Sam Jackson is a bad idea. And also Liam Neeson, for that matter, because he will find you and he will kill you. All right. So let's just get a little bit of information on the roommate that we've been given. All right. And again, pay it. Now this one's coming. This one's coming from Fox, but I want you guys to pay attention to some of these headlines when I share these articles with you. Pay close attention to the headlines. There's messaging all in these headlines. And you can see it. You can feel it. I'm telling you. Okay, so. Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin lived with alleged assassin, by the way. Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin. Now, this is September 13th, okay? So, I've been saving stuff for a week now. So okay, benefit of the doubt, alleged. We all know, right? We know this. So, this is Fox News again. Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin lived with transgender partner who is now cooperating with FBI officials, okay? Extremely cooperative from what we understand. It says that he lived with. Now, as we come to find out, Bureau officials confirm that Tyler Robinson, 22, now keep that in mind, 22 years old, who uses social media and texts and probably abbreviates and all that kind of shit, okay? Was in a romantic relationship with the unnamed person who is a male transitioning to a female. and that they shared an apartment in St. George, Utah. Those FBI officials told Fox News Digital, those FBI officials told Fox News Digital that Robinson's partner is fully cooperating with the FBI's investigation. That would probably be a good idea in general with authorities. It says those officials. Now we have one FBI official told Fox News Digital the individual has been extremely cooperative and said the person had no idea Robinson was allegedly planning to assassinate the Turning Point USA leader. The person is not currently accused of any criminal activity in connection with the assassination. We can see them there at the apartment complex, little townhome thing, something like that. Let's see here. Make sure I highlight a couple comments here from you guys. Monkey fighting snakes on a monkey fighting plane, right? Otherwise known as, I don't know if it'd be monkey fighting, right? I mean, I guess, I get what you're doing there, by the way. Liam Neeson got pegged by an alien, though, so there's that. Yeah, that's a tough one. You don't recover. You don't recover from docking or pegging. I'm just saying. All right. So anyway, FBI officials told Fox News Digital that the FBI had text messages and other communications between Robinson and his partner that helped FBI agents zero in on Robinson. Officials said the FBI took evidence from their apartment, including computers, which has been sent to Quantico for review. All right. They declined to comment on Robinson's partner, whether they would be charged or not with a crime. The FBI is investigating a record number of tips. A record number. Now, I have an interview from a neighbor. And there's more than one, but I found this one to be quite interesting. We're going to play it here in just a bit. It says every connection, every group, every link will be investigated, and anyone involved in this matter, anywhere in the world they might be, will be brought to justice. I mean, there's really only one person ultimately, but I think we all understand where they're going with this. So the apartment is in the same community that Robinson's parents live in. It's also about 4 hours away from Utah Valley University, which means he had to travel. That's premeditated, right? It says that, let's see, we don't need to know the details of the shooting. We know that. Okay, here we go. A law enforcement source told Fox News Digital that Robinson's father, who ultimately turned him in, told the FBI he recognized his son from surveillance video images, which were made public as the 33-hour manhunt unfolded. It says when Robinson arrived at his father's home, he said he wanted to kill himself. The source told Fox News Digital that the father spoke with a minister the family knew before turning in his son. Meanwhile, the rifle that the FBI believes was used to kill Kirk contained ammunition inscribed with anti-fascist messaging. Utah Governor Spencer Cox confirmed the messaging at a news conference Friday, saying investigators discovered inscriptions on casings found with the bolt-action rifle near the campus. One used casing, 3 unused casings contain the writings. News of the ammunition inscriptions was first shared on social media Thursday morning in a preliminary bulletin attributed to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the ATF/E. Oh, it's new to me. Okay. So again, that was September 13th, right? So we get that information. Okay, great. We learn a little bit more about the lover. Okay. Now, what really starts to get to me is that the roommate said, the lover said that they found the note, right? it was written, said, you'll find my note under the laptop or whatever. The note was found, and then we get the text messages. All right. So, let's just read through them. All right. Unless you guys really want to hear them. And I've got some comments starred. I just want to make sure that I hit this stuff up for you guys, and make sure that I am fully engaged with you guys. I do not have a producer. I don't have anybody else on this one, and we know a few people who actually have 100+ people or more that will cover this stuff by themselves, right? So I should be able to do it. All right. Let's go ahead and share the text. Let's read them. And then you guys, you tell me what you think. Before I do that, really quickly, Dreadnought says, I didn't mean hijack like that. I mean, I wasn't aiming to disrupt the chat like I've done another apologist's channel. That's all. Sorry for improperly phrasing it. All good, buddy. Like I said, I want you here. This is free speech. Don't go anywhere. All right? You're good. You comment what you want to comment. I'm like I said, unless there are threats, I'm not a fan of banning people. Sometimes people, as far as timeout, whatever. But you're good. You're good. But I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much so. You know that, man. War Chest says, I would never try to kill somebody without a proper haircut. Yes. Gotta get your hair done first, right? Do you want the photos on the thumbnail? By the way, there's a photo on the thumbnail. Now, I don't think that the looks really matter. I think we probably know what we're getting into with that. But on the thumbnail, there is a picture, and it's pretty much the same picture that has been shared, right? Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. Yeah, right. Clint says the lover's mom and the shooter's mom have similar professions, same profession as the butler PA shooter's parents. It is interesting, and that's something I'd like to delve into on another stream, is maybe some of the similarities and the how the growing up, right? And yeah, I get you, brother. Trust me. Everything is in your strike zone. Right? Like right down the middle. You get one pitch to hit and you knock it out of the park. So here's the text messages. I'm going to read them. I'm going to turn the music down a little bit, and I want you guys to tell me. I want you to comment. I want you to tell me. I know you've read them. But these really, really, really seem, man, I don't know. Right? So here we go. The note, right, gave the note, all right, says, after the note was read, the roommate lover responded, what? You're joking, right? Okay. I'm still okay, my love, but am stuck in OREM for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home. But I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. Now, I love how it says roommate. I'm just going to change that to lover, because it says, I'm still okay, my love. So we're going to change roommate to lover, okay? Lover, you weren't the one who did it, right? Robinson, I am. I'm sorry. Lover, I thought they caught the person. Robinson, no. They grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet. Almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Lover, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Lover, yeah, Robinson, I had enough of this hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again, hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Okay, so let's pause. Let's pause right there. Does this sound like a 22-year-old person who has grown up in the world of social media and text messaging abbreviations, who is in the middle of a crazy ass situation where there are sirens and cop cars and people walking, looking, flashlights, who knows? One thing I do not like about these messages, there are no timestamps. There are no timestamps. We don't know when these messages were written, read, messaged back. We have no idea. 33-hour manhunt. How much of that time was spent at the parents' home, turning himself in, I don't know. But immediately, my bullshit meter goes off. Immediately. 22-year-old people do not converse this way. Especially, in my opinion, 22-year-old people who are gay, trans, both, LGBTQ. I'm sorry, I do not believe some of this messaging. As soon as I heard this, okay? As soon as I heard this, and I want you guys to listen to it with me, okay? As I turn Otis and the band down. Otis, you got to go, buddy. All right? So, let's just pause our buddy Otis. All right. As soon as I heard this, my meter went off. All right. Make sure my volume's up.
The roommate. Police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting, and he did provide those messages to police. On September 10th, 2025, the roommate received a text message from Robinson which said, "Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard." The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of this note. The following text exchange, then took place. After reading the note, the roommate responded, "What?"
Okay. That's just the lead up. So I just want to give you guys an idea. Okay. When I heard the lead up to it, and then I heard this.
"You're joking, right?" Robinson, "I am still okay, my love, but am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you." Roommate, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson, I am. I'm sorry." Roommate, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." Roommate, "Why?" Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence.
Now, he just laughed. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Did you just notice that he just laughed?
I will have left no evidence.
One more time.
I'm able to grab my rifle unseen. I will have left no evidence.
He just laughed. I find that fascinating. I do. I find that interesting. That he just laughed at this breaking news conference to read the text messages to reporters, and he just chuckled in the middle of it. As if he can't believe this is real also. Because did the district attorney actually, was he in the middle of it? Is he just getting the information? I would assume. He's not a detective. He just laughed in the middle of it. So my point about this is, okay, well, let me get back to these messages. Okay, my point, is that this doesn't sound like a 22-year-old person talking, okay? So let me make sure that I hit up some of you guys' texts because I want to know what you guys are saying, right? Let's see here. Boom. Okay. Occam's razor, right? Let's see. 100% AI texts, right? Katie pointing up, absolutely. Social work, psychology, talking about the parents. Okay. Let's see here. Orum. See, that's the other thing about this messaging, right? We know 22-year-olds actually they text in a certain way, right? They use abbreviations, stuff like that. There's so much in this, and I can't wait to play the I can't wait to play a video for you guys here in just a second. Okay, Bobby Wolf says, old guy that they first arrested, I was watching some news report that not only was he at the site, but he's also at 9/11, saw the Twin Towers come down, and he had some ties to the Boston Marathon. I did not see that. However, I do want to bring up the article about him. Let's see, and he was absolutely, Johnny. We're gonna bring that up as well. 3 stars says this is fake as fuck. Yeah, there's so much involved with that, right? Dreadnought. 3 stars says I don't think the orientation has a thing to do with it, but the age and circumstance does. Yes, I think the age and circumstance. I think it's really difficult for me to believe that these messages were written by someone that's 22 years old who is in the middle of this lifestyle. Okay, who has grown up in social media, who has been around this basically their entire life at this point. They don't talk that way. I don't talk that way. You don't talk that way. Now, we text that way, but we don't necessarily talk that way, okay? Let's see. Yeah, Johnny, he knew, he laughed because he knew it was fake-ass bullshit. Yes, that's my thing, right? And then War Chest, I found it crazy when he got off the roof. There was no commotion, people in panic, nothing, right? Well, I don't think anybody saw him. I mean, I don't know at that moment with people running and freaking out because you don't know if there's multiple shots coming at you like what happened in Las Vegas during that country concert or whatever. You really don't know, right? So I'll give people the benefit of the doubt, okay? I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And then say... yes, as far as the sickening how far the corruption actually goes, right? Yes, it goes very deep. And I don't disagree with any of that at all. Just so you guys know, I don't disagree with that at all. I don't think we can take what we're being given, and I think a lot of people feel this way. I don't think you can take what you're being given and just take it and go, yeah, yep, that's it. That's pretty much, I believe it. Now, sadly, people do. They don't think critically. They don't question. Right? And by the way, Turk, just wanted to let you know, had I known about the stream you had with Real Grievance there a little earlier, I think, but I got your message. Just want to let you know. But I have actually gone back and watched it just to let you know for sure. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I'm betting on the aliens in this fight. I mean, at this point, who knows? Okay, so let's go back to the messages. All right. Again, this sounds too. It sounds like an older person. It doesn't sound real. Okay. Again, you just heard it says, why? Why did I do it? The lover says yes. Robinson says, I've had enough of this hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. No one at 22 years old talks like that. Period. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Haven't seen. So where are you spending this 33-hour manhunt? You're on your phone. You're watching YouTube, Fox News, whatever, right? So now you're keeping up with. Okay, I can buy that. I'm not saying to buy the messages. I'm just saying I can buy that. If you're hiding out, you're watching YouTube, you're trying to figure, where can I go? What's blocked off? Okay, get it. Okay, the lover. How long have you been planning this? Robinson, a bit over a week, I believe. Okay. I can get close to it, but there was a squad car parked right by it. Talking about the rifle. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Again, I think they already swept that spot. Now, I'm not saying growing up with a conservative dad, gun talk, okay, rifle talk, right? But again, it just doesn't sound. If it smells like shit and it looks like shit, the chances are it's shit. We all know this. Play detective and you can get in the ballpark. You can get on the infield. A lot of times you can get to home plate. Okay. The lover. How long have you been planning this? Robinson, been over a week, I believe. Okay. I don't want to chance it. The lover. Oh, no, this is Tyler Robinson again. My bad. I'm wishing I'd circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. Who fucking says vehicle at 22 years old? Seriously. I mean, it's just so... Okay, ... I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. You just did something that you probably would never think that you'd ever do in your life. You can't be... I mean, you... In my opinion, I would assume you'd be freaking out. But maybe that's I'm wrong. Okay? I'll give that the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this kid was calm, cool, and collected and crystal clear. He executed, pun not intended, his plan. And he could put his hand out and there's no shakes. Right? Robinson. Okay. I don't know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with... ... I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving... Okay. All right. Let's just quit fucking around right now. Let's just stop it. Don't you think for 1 second after all of this shit, unless his lover was just letting Robinson talk to it, okay? Then I don't understand. I just don't understand. Because who in the fuck would go, hey, by the way, in the middle of all this shit going on right now, hey, do you remember when I was engraving bullets the other day? With a question mark, right? Remember how I was engraving bullets? You know, you remember that, right? When I was sitting there, like, chalking them up, like, you would have already brought that up, like, oh, yeah, I get it now. Like, what the fuck? No. Okay, quote, the fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices the bulge, ooh, right, which has come to know that what that is, which is an Antifa message about furries. It's a furry message about noticing someone's furry bulge from across the room. Okay, if I see notices bulge, UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. Okay, again. Seriously? I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. That really fucking sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know, or is in IDK. So now we have an abbreviation. I think that was a 2K scope. And then we get a I'm guessing trigger scope above it, gun scope above it, trigger, or it's just a 2 eyes and a flat mouth with 2 goatee. I don't fucking know what that is. You guys tell me. Robinson, delete this exchange. Robinson, my dad wants photos of the rifle. Okay. This is after the parents saw the video that was released during the manhunt. Right. Let's see the dad's text messages. How about it? My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. So now, okay, so doesn't that sound like a family that's trying to cover up for a kid? Now, don't get me wrong. I understand emotions and everything. You know, are you trying to... Do you have the rifle? Where is it at? If it's not with you, then we have hope that you're not the person that did this, even though we recognize the shirt, we recognize the Chuck Taylor shoes, or whatever the fuck. We recognize your jeans, we recognize your build, we recognize your walk, we recognize the way you jump off a fucking ladder or down. You get my drift? So, all right. Again, now the parents are asking questions. Wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me RN right now, abbreviation, comma, not answering. Robinson again. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Now, we get again, with no timestamps, mind you, I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. Okay, no, not currently. Was very clean. Again, you are all I worry about, my love. And then the lover says, I'm much more worried about you. Robinson says, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent, which is exactly what didn't happen. All right, you guys have a few comments. I want to make sure I hit them up, okay? Let's see here. Okay. After the ban. Okay, Katie says, it's so ridiculous they think we're all idiots. I agree, Katie. Because now we're getting in. So again, a lot of people are like, no, man, you know, the right, the left, right? No, we're at this point, like, there's things in here that are beyond that disregard those labels, okay? 3-Star Draw says, this is Steve Buscemi writing this note. How do you do, fellow kids? Right. It doesn't sound real, right? My old man, again, no. Who talks like that? Not a 22-year-old, bottom line. Now, I can tell you, 3-Star Draw's older brother, okay, my cousin, yeah, back in 1982, 1980, or you know, when he was 10 years old, you know, or 12, 13 years old, 14 years old, whatever, 15 years old. But like, not now. That is a phrase uttered by older people. It just is, right? So, yes, bottom line. Let's see here. Turk says they just got us all complacent. We're all slowly waking up to the bullshit. I hope you're right. I hope we are. And I think we are. I think people that were just a little bit left of center are going, you know what? Nah, I ain't good with this shit. And we'll get into that stuff as to why people aren't good with that shit as we get into some of these clips and videos. Again, I told you this is going to be a little bit of a long one, so settle in, buckle up, baby. We got a lot to do, and I understand if people have to go to bed. I understand you got to work tomorrow. That's fully understandable. Last thing I want to do is get in the way of your schedule and what you need to do for your life. But if you are interested, stick with me because we're going to go through a lot of this stuff. We're going to go through a lot of these posts, media in particular, and narrative as well. So stay tuned. Okay, so let's see here. All right. Let's see. The Awakening, Dreadnought. I've seen, as a matter of fact, I have. For instance, if I can go back to it. Okay. So just on a side note, just to bring it up. Let's see. Make sure this video. And I want you guys to know. Okay. So, and this isn't really derailing the stream by any means. As a matter of fact, this is, in my opinion, just adding to the conversation, especially when you guys have something pertinent to bring up. I want to bring it up. So, let's talk about the awakening, so to speak. Now, I want you guys to understand, you know, some of these conversations, some of this stuff is not comfortable. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to talk about. It's uncomfortable for a lot of people because they're scared. They're scared about their job place. They're scared about maybe making a comment and somebody screenshotting it. Well, here's the deal. In 2021 or 2020, people were scared to death to question COVID or the vaccine because that was the kind of stuff that was getting people canceled and getting people fired. And people were scared to discuss it in an open forum, right? But there's no reason why anybody should be scared to discuss those things that were forced upon you and your body, feeding your family. I was told several times that I was what was wrong with this country because I didn't want to get the vaccine. I was told I was what was wrong with this country. I was told that I was a killer. That I was killing children and older people, that I willingly was ending people. Because I didn't want to take an experimental whatever it was that has been proven at this point now to not really do anything. Maybe do something, but ultimately not change the course. changed the course of COVID. But now we've seen people making comments about this. That's a different story. We're not talking about your personal body per se. We're not talking about. We're talking about something that people making threats. I don't think it's a threat to say that you don't believe in this rushed vaccine. I don't think that's a threat at all. So anyway, and Katie says way too many red flags. I agree. So the Great Awakening, starting in 2012, sociologists began picking up on a new trend. White progressives were becoming obsessed with race, slavery, and white supremacy. Now again, let's go back and let's read that again. Okay? Whites were becoming obsessed with slavery, race, and white supremacy, largely driven by the liberal media, exponentially increasing its focus on these issues. Sociologists called it the Great Awakening. All right? That is a fact. All right? It is so-called the Great Awakening. But, yes, it is literally something that became so hardcore focused on that it has divided this country even more so than previously. White progressive liberals have gone out of their way, before we get back on track, gone out of their way to focus on race, especially race in particular. Okay? But really has created division. They've brought up slavery, reparations, for instance, right? Focused heavily on those things, especially in California, and white supremacy. Now, I think most of us growing up and the age that we're at now, if you're near 50, and I know not everybody is, but if you're near 50, I would dare say that most of us, okay, which most of us are white males, but in general, in media, through music, pop culture even, in the 90s and into the early 2000s, pretty much race was a non-issue. It didn't get talked about a lot, not because nobody wanted to bring it up and talk about that there were still things going on that mattered, but people wanted to dismiss it or not pay attention to it. But as a society, for the most part, we had moved on. We had progressed past that. Here's the trick. All these people that bring up race and slavery, white supremacy, reparations, all this stuff, BLM, all this stuff. If there's no conflict, they can't make money. And if they can't make money, then they're like the rest of us. They got to go out and they got to work a new job. They got to get a job, a real job. So instead, that hustle has continued on because it's a hustle. It is a hustle. You have to get up every day and you have to find the new race hustle. Okay? So the Great Awakening is hustlers who have to be fake outraged because that's how they make their money. And so once we get over and get past these things, they don't matter to people. Well, they've got to continually beat that drum every chance they get, because otherwise, look, here's the deal. Understand this. If we ended racism tomorrow, do you realize how many people would be pissed off about that? The very people who every day tell you we need to end racism, that we need to end class wars, right, or whatever. We need to eliminate white supremacy. Do you realize if those things were eliminated, those folks would be out of a job? You understand the cycle now, right? Like, do you get it? Because it's a cycle. It is these people, these folks that are out there beating that drum every day, when most regular, everyday Americans, normal, average, everyday Americans, don't have a problem with people like that. Don't hold it against anybody like that. They don't go out of their way to be a racist, okay? These people must force it because they have to make a living, and that's how they make their living. That's literally what it's about. And I hope more people understand that. I hope more people realize that, right? Okay, let's see here. Johnny Reno says I watched 3 videos where somebody plugged the entire text log into a chat GPT and recorded it. It said it was 100% AI generated. Those videos are now no longer online, and now chat GPT says it's 100% human. I believe that. I wish I had tried that, actually. I wish I had tried that, but I think all of us could see where that would definitely be. We could see that would be the case. Okay, Warchest says, how do they even text without using the term no cap and it's a vibe? Yeah, in a way, right? I mean, it's just goofy. A lot of those text messages, especially from Tyler Robinson, just don't sound normal. They don't sound real. They don't sound like a 22-year-old who's on the run. And again, remember, we have no timestamps for any of this stuff. We are read out loud by the district attorney, the messages, line by line. We're read out loud. And we've been shown, and they've been published, and everybody can read them. I haven't seen a timestamp yet. If you come across one, please send it to me, and I'll admit that I'm wrong. I'll admit I haven't seen it and didn't do enough of my homework already. But I have not seen timestamps. Therefore, I have a hard time believing all that, right? Let's see here. Hand graving, Turk says, is not easy work to do it well, and this kid did all of this. Hand graving the ammunition, correct, right? Somehow. Yeah, furries in drum circles. Nah, say it ain't so. Okay. Let's see. And Johnny Reno says, yeah, seen many exit wounds from large caliber ammunition. Never seen bones stop one round. I did see, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, I did see a video talking about the body armor that Charlie Kirk wore actually contributed to his death. That the body armor, the bullet hit the top of the chest plate and ricocheted upwards to his neck. It showed still photos as it's hitting, post it hitting and making contact. And that's a compelling argument that the body armor he wore actually made the bullet ricochet upwards. It makes sense in the grand scheme of things. I don't know a lot about body armor, but I could see where that could happen. So that's one thing out there. That's another thing out there, right? Okay. So, let's see. As you guys have a couple things, and then we'll move on. Let's see. John X says also, how small was the font for this said in grain? Some of the phrases were fairly long, and cylindrical bullet casings would be very hard to do and be legible without a machine. But I've only got access to 2 reloaders and have 0 ballistics knowledge. You and me both. And I don't know what that takes. I don't know what that encompasses. You've given me something to research. It's something I did not research just because, not that I didn't think about it, but at the same time, it's like I had so much to try to pull in this week as well. But that's you've given me food for thought. Frangible ammo, but that's specialty ammo. Your average 22-year-old wouldn't know about. So it is possible 200 yards out. Let's see here. Yeah, large caliber rounds. Very high chance of not disintegrating through or stopping. Let's see here. Distance of the round have anything to do with it? God, you guys got a lot of comments in here. I got to catch up. My apologies, y'all. My apologies, especially since I got on a rant here. So let me catch up really quickly, just because. And it says he did miss if it was a headshot. Yeah, that's. I think so not being a sniper, not being somebody that with the bolt action and a $2,000 scope. I'm not saying the kid was an expert. We don't really know. I don't know that history of his shooting, but I'd say that bullet drop. Even from 200 yards, maybe bullet drop, and then that maybe brings into play the body armor, which I saw from video does make sense. You guys could look it up. You could look it up. Did the body armor cause his the shot to actually do what it was intended to do, but not because the kid was that good of a shot? So let's see here. I apologize. Todd C., what's going on, man? Good to see you. He said you're an anti-vaxxer prop. This changes everything. Yeah, just don't spread measles or polio. Of course, you knew that. I would hope you know that because I definitely have mentioned that many times. But I know you're joking. Let's see. Yeah, I'd say war chest. Definitely. If you go on a hike with somebody and I don't even want to get into that. I'm going to leave it alone. All right, Katie Larson, don't even get me started on the COVID shit, but the left says it's my body, my choice, right? Okay, so there's so many discrepancies in all the things they bring up, and I can't wait to get to some of these headlines. Just pertaining to this specific subject, this particular matter, I want to get to that. So let me get through these really quickly. 49 in a month. Eric Thurman, I can't wait to tell you happy birthday, buddy. I just turned 50 on September the 4th, and I feel much better because I've actually been getting some sleep, my friends. Dreadnought, growing up, most of my idols in sports were black. Yes, I agree. Me too. I think that's why the comment, what I made about getting over race as a subject, and now you have this awakening where you have these liberals, these progressive liberals who are pushing these ideologies on people and trying to bring race back up because they're fucking hustlers, and we all know it, right? Let's see. Most health problems, if we cure them, Big Pharma will be out of jobs. Yes, 100%. 100%. Clint says those messages will not be allowed in court. You talk about the text messages. We need timestamps. We need pinging off of towers. We need information. Says he hasn't confessed yet. No, I don't believe he actually. I don't think that he did. I saw an article come through, and let's just look it up real quick. Let's just look it up. Let's educate ourselves as much as we can. I'm all about that. And if I'm wrong about something, I will be glad to admit it. It says he confessed in a hidden note, right? He has not confessed ultimately. Now, if you watch the court, I'll drop the link. Court appearance. I'll drop the link in the chat. This is the court appearance. Now, look, I don't. If some of you guys want to watch it, by all means. I'll never stop you from popping in, popping out. I'll never stop you from doing that. But there's the link. This is just Channel 4 News. I believe in maybe it's a British public broadcast service. They're having their own issues over there. But he confessed in the note. Has not confessed in real life, shall we say. Timestamp says 3-star draw is a big deal. Any other case, they make a show of the stamps in a time lapse. This is how it happened. See, I agree. We need the time lapse. We need the time of everything. And these messages are so crucial. Now, Clint says he didn't wear armor. I disagree. I think Charlie, let's see. I think he was at the point where I know that he did an interview with Bill Maher about a month prior to his assassination, and he said that he had security for sure. Now, you know, the God dang it, my typing skills sucks. I apologize, guys. Okay. Was he wearing body armor? Reveals absolute miracle. This is Charlie Kirk wearing body armor. Bulletproof vest. Video clip. I was. If you look at his clothing, it sure looks like it. Like it definitely looks like it. But that's neither here nor there at this point. But all right, nonetheless, all right. See, neck armor sales have gone up through the roof. Yeah, no doubt. And Johnny Reno says spalling with body armor doesn't work like that. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know how that all works, right? It's like watching a video is definitely interesting. Okay. Totsi says not saying stereotyping is okay. Well, no, it's crucial because a lot of times it's real. Let's not kid ourselves. Okay, let's not play games. Let's not try to 1 out of 100, 150 times you're surprised by someone. But if a girl has a septum ring, I think we could stereotype at that point. Okay, let's get on with it. Let's see. Yeah, it is messed up as far as people actually profiting from racism. At this point, it's basically a business model. It is a business model, and it's a very successful business model. As we've seen, hustlers and grifters make millions and buy mansions like BLM are able to do that and continue to push that narrative on the public. And then on top of that, cancel people if they don't agree. Ruin people's lives if they don't agree. And now we're seeing the left, to a lot of degree, try to pull that on this when people are losing their jobs. But there's a difference. There's a huge difference, okay, in someone not agreeing with how race hustling and baiting is going about to celebrating the death of someone. Regardless, like, it's to a point now where at this point now, let's just like let's go. This is it, right? We just can't go there. Once we go there, then you can't come back from that, right? Dreadnought says, argument's sake, he was wearing a vest, as it wouldn't have been a plate carrier, and B, bullets don't bounce off soft vests. Even the design is made to entangle the bullet. I own body armor. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know enough about it, but I'd be curious to learn more. I mean, really, truly. So, all right. So let's move along. Let's move along now. Now that I've got caught up again, I apologize, y'all. Don't really have a way to highlight them either, at least on my own. So, but all right. Let's get back into it. Whew. All right. So you guys know, and we talked about it a little while ago, right? We've gotten the info about the roommate. All right, we know they were lovers. We know that they were with each other. That we know they were furries. We know they were all into the furry shit. That let's fucking stereotype at this point. There are reports from hotels of people going to a furry convention who take a shit on the floor instead of the toilet because they think they're a dog. They identify as an animal. They will tell you their pronouns are Zer or kitty catty or snaky snakey or whatever the fuck it is. That's a mental illness. That's a problem. Okay? That's not normal. That is a problem. That is a mental illness. Now, I'm not saying people can't have fun, right? Cosplay, for instance, being a big one. You can have fun. Right? You can cosplay, pretend you're Wonder Woman or Superman or Batman or whoever, right? Are you going out and fighting crime in the streets? No, you're not fighting crime in the streets. But you do it because you love the look of it, you enjoy it, and if you're at a convention and people enjoy it and they want to take pictures and all that kind of stuff, you spend all this money on a costume, you do all this, okay, fine. But anybody that dresses up as Batman is not going out in the streets to fight crime. And if you dress up as a furry, it's not okay to pretend enough that you're an animal that you don't use the bathroom at a hotel, but you take a shit on the floor. That's not okay. So, pretending that, it's this is some normal shit. Yeah, actually it does. Yes, it does. That's the sad part. It does. There have been hotels that have actually, with people commenting and talking about it, where there are people that have, again, 3-star, you got to understand, these are people, not all of them. I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying there are people who literally tell you that you have to dress them as, kitty or cat or whatever. There are teachers that have been fired in school because an 8-year-old identified as a kitty cat and wanted to be addressed as such, and the teacher refused to address a student as kitty cat and got fired over that. And that's just one particular case, right? Yeah, no doubt, Turk. But let's see, who was it? Anyway, so my point is that, things have gotten to the point where when you allow everything, right, and there's no consequences, there's no, society regulates itself, then everything's on the table. Now, I said it, free marketplace of ideas. However, let's not kid ourselves, right? Right. You can't have grown men walking into little girls' bathrooms. Right? You can dress up in the costume. It doesn't mean that's it. You're not Snoopy. Right? So, so we saw where George Zinn. So the thinking here is that George Zinn, immediately after the shooting, started to take credit. He had to be dragged away. Does this look like... Man claimed to have shot Charlie Kirk so real gunman could escape. George Zinn, the man who claimed to have shot Charlie Kirk, has been charged with obstructing justice and possessing child abuse material. On the day Kirk was shot, Zinn was seen yelling that he was the gunman to allow the actual suspect to flee. Does he have anything to do with the actual suspect? And that's where discord, that's where the prior communication comes into play. Zinn also possessed over 24 images of children in various stages of posing. Now, whether he knew Tyler Robinson or not, again, this is mental illness. This is what mental illness looks like. These are people that need help, or they need something, but what they don't need is to be able to roam around. Zen was seen yelling that he had shot Kirk. Police took him into custody, and he was not being cooperative with investigators. He was later transported to the hospital after experiencing a medical issue. I can't breathe. Video shared on social media showed law enforcement taking a man believed to be Zen into custody shortly after the shooting. The video showed a man wearing a blue button-up shirt and his pants around his ankles. Well, It was later confirmed by the Commissioner of Utah Department of Public Safety, Bo Mason, that Zen was not the shooter and that a manhunt was underway. Digging deeper, Zen eventually agreed to speak with investigators while at the hospital. So, number one, he yelled out he was the one that did it. They take him into custody. And then before they can interview him, per police protocol, he had a medical issue. He couldn't breathe or something and had to be taken to the hospital, and then was taken to the hospital, and then he was able to talk to investigators, giving Tyler Robinson plenty of time to get away. At least that's what his plan was. All right. It says that during the interview, investigators asked to look at Zen's phone, to which he agreed, and that's where they found the child pictures on his phone. It says that, I don't want to get into this too hardcore because it's fucking disgusting, and this son of a bitch needs to be, he should not be with us. As we've seen, there's really no... you can't heal from that. It's something inherently wrong. So he needs to be locked away in a special place and not able to be in public. At least not alone. It says, let's see. After obtaining search warrants for his phone, over 20 images of children, 5 to 12. And then he told investigators what he liked to do with those photos. So, that is our boy Zen, right? So now you have another sicko who gets himself involved in this whole situation, right? It's you know right there with Chipper. Maybe only certain parts. Right, Johnny? It doesn't have to be the whole body, right? Yeah, this guy seems like Patsy number 2. I'm with you. And you're right. This is where it started to get out of hand, right? Okay, so we have someone. Now, again, remember the situation, folks. Remember the situation. We have somebody that's speaking on stage, debating people in an open forum, taking questions. There is a large crowd. Yes, he has a large supportive crowd. People obviously gain a lot of supporters. So, you have someone who assassinates him. And then you have someone else who goes out of their way to take credit for it, knowing he didn't do it, so that the person who did it could get away. That's a sick motherfucker. I don't give a shit. I don't care what side you're on of whatever. That's disgusting. Now, when Robinson actually when he got arrested, all right, or when he afterwards, before he got arrested, he told friends that it was a doppelganger, that it was someone who looked like him that did it on Discord. Claims doppelganger shot Charlie Kirk to get me in trouble. Now, on Discord, right? He says it wasn't him, it was his doppelganger. All right. The New York Times on Saturday published a report on Tyler Robinson's Discord chats. Their analysis revealed that Robinson came online on Discord hours after the shooting on Wednesday and said that his doppelganger shot and killed Charlie Kirk. The motive? The doppelganger supposedly wanted to get Robinson in trouble. Right. So now we have someone who did it, but then is trying to pass the blame off on a twin or a doppelganger. Okay? And that they wanted to get him in trouble. Why would they want to get him in trouble? What's the point? Now, New York Times reported that Tyler Robinson's friends on Discord saw the semblance between him and the photo of the suspect the FBI released. After that, one of the members of the Discord chat group, reportedly an acquaintance of Robinson, asked him, "Where you at or where you're at?" Right, WIA. The message ended with a skull emoji. Again, sick fuckers. It was in reply to this message that Robinson wrote his doppelganger fatally shot Charlie Kirk in Orem. What followed was an epic irony as the group, along with Robinson, discussed how they could frame Robinson as the killer owing to his semblance and get the $100,000 reward that was on offer. Robinson responded by saying he is up for it if he gets a cut of the $100,000 reward. Again, this is what world are you living in? You can't get away with anything at this point. I think we all understand. You cannot get away with anything at this point. Period. Especially if you live in a city that has businesses and cameras and Ring doorbells and cell phone towers. It's virtually impossible now. Which means you have to know what you're getting yourself into if you decide to do something like this. And then to act as if it was a doppelganger and you could claim part of the $100,000. It's like people that murder their grandparents over a $10,000 life insurance policy and they think that's life-changing money. It sounds so ridiculous, except there are fucking idiots out there who believe that shit. They think $10,000 they can start a new life. Okay, so then on Discord, another member remembered the arrest of Luigi Mangione, the shooter who killed the United Healthcare CEO and was caught at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. The user wrote, "Whatever you do, don't go to a McDonald's anytime soon." Robinson replied, "Better also get rid of the manifesto, an exact copy rifle I have laying around." Now, again, he just said it was a doppelganger. Now he's saying he needs to get rid of the exact copy of a rifle I have lying around. Because, why would anybody have an exact copy of a rifle with a $2,000 scope on it that just happens to look just like your doppelgangers? So, I love how, it says here that the FBI was probing Tyler Robinson's motive, as they prepare to press charges, which they already did. Then it says here, and of course, these are several days old, interrogated the roommates who shared a 3-bedroom apartment with Robinson in St. George, Utah. I love this, too. Though authorities did not reveal details of the investigation, multiple news outlets reported on it, citing unnamed law enforcement services. So Discord has a record of these messages. And for them to pretend like they had no idea, that they had no idea about any of it, right? Right? Compare those Discord texts to his boyfriend's conversation, right? But then, will we see timestamps of the Discord conversation, right? I wonder when Jack Ruby's going to show up, right? I mean, that's literally, it's got so much right? There's so much there. And yes, you can count on lies and taxes. Them cameras will get you every time these days. That's why I don't, I'm like, don't even try to say they didn't have this kid if you really did it in 20 minutes. Right. It's, it is what it is. But I will say, with cameras everywhere, and I mean everywhere, you cannot, if you're thinking about doing something, stealing a car, like, you ain't gonna get away with it. It's not gonna happen. And yes, somewhere I saw pictures of the roommate dressed similar as the shooter. They both kind of look alike. I agree. And there are cameras, right? There's multiple cameras, and there's multiple pictures, right? We've seen the roommate. We get it, right? We get where it's coming from. We get where it is, right, in life. All right, so. There was a memorial tonight. There was a memorial, and there were some comments made by Erica Kirk, and I do want to show them to you. Now, I did have somebody message me earlier and said that there is crazy in them eyes. Erica Kirk, there is crazy in them eyes, and I haven't looked that closely, but I get it. I get where there might be some I don't know. I've not studied her that heavily. Jay Gonzo in the house. What's up, Jay? Good to see you, man. But yeah, Dreadnought, they can pan the camera after he jumps off the roof, but can't pan to see how he gets on the roof. Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Now, I am definitely curious. Definitely curious to see more and more video maybe get out, right? I want more. I want as much as we can get. I want as much information. I want as much text messages. I want as many. I want as much information, camera footage as we can get to really piece this together. Really just give ourselves a timeline. Okay, so let's get into let's get into the narrative that's being pushed here. And part of it came from earlier in the week, but I want to get into it as far as what we've got right now with Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, because a lot of people are pissed off about that. But yeah, and yeah, 3-star, right? Yeah. That's a quality statement right there. And I'm going to get into some of the narrative that's being pushed, but I want to get into this Kimmel story really quickly. Disney subsidiary ABC pulled the Jimmy Kimmel Live show off the air indefinitely after its host controversial comments about the alleged killer of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The FCC chair suggested ABC's broadcast license was at risk. Now, again, I think that is maybe moving a bit far, okay? Like, they don't have control over Jimmy Kimmel and his statements. Now, if he makes statements, then, and they don't see those statements as fit, okay, I understand. But, again, I am all about free speech. I have no problem with free speech. Whether it comes with a talk show or a YouTube channel or a book or a letter or whatever. I have no problem with that. However, there again are consequences for those actions. And if you go out on TV, all right, and you say some of these things right here, which I'm about to play for you guys. All right. Let's show you this video. And you tell me.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes.
Okay. Number one, I'll grant there's a helicopter going on in the background. Did he hear the first part of the question? Did he hear, hey, how are you holding up? I don't know, right? But I get it. Late night talk show, you pull a clip, you have a team. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Jimmy Kimmel has like 20 writers on his show, so I'm sure all 20 of them were salivating at the opportunity to make a joke about Trump's addressing the reporter saying, how are you holding up, right? Fine. If that make a joke about it, that's fine. I think ultimately though is that it's the comments about Tyler Robinson being a right-wing MAGA.
He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. There's demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
So, do I think it's worthy of being pulled off the air, right? If we hear it again.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. And
I think that's where so this is where we're going to get into this, right? This is where we're going to get into this because Jimmy Kimmel says the MAGA gang, okay, and number one, this MAGA gang, like the Make America Great Again, okay. And this is where these are the same people, okay? This is the same person. These are the same people. Everybody's favorite Pedro Pascal. These are the same people that said, if you voted for Trump, you are a Nazi. Now, how do you think some 22-year-old kid, 22-year-old kid, extreme left-wing, furry, trans, lover. When you're told every day for years, several years, that someone is a Nazi, that Charlie Kirk is a Nazi, that Trump is a Nazi, that anybody right of center is a Nazi, that my mom is a Nazi, that my sister's a Nazi, that anyone that's a conservative is a Nazi. And do you know what people equate to Nazis, especially nut job, trans relationship, furry, extreme left wingers? You know what they think about Nazis? They think they should be put in the ground. You have this common phrase called punch a Nazi in the face, right? Punch a Nazi in the face. It's very common amongst left-wingers. It's very common amongst the LGBTQ community. It's very common amongst the blue sky community. Do you know what people think about anyone who voted for Trump? They literally think they should be put in the ground like a Nazi. Now, you and I, most of us, reasonable people, would agree that Hitler and anyone involved in that movement, especially, right? Anyone that believed in that eugenics, and anybody believed in Aryan brotherhood and nation and all that stuff. I don't know, eliminating over 2 million Jews. No, those people are bad people. I dare say someone's 78-year-old grandma who voted for Trump in the election because they didn't like the other candidate is not a Nazi. I am not a Nazi. You are not a Nazi. But when people that are crazy, who have loose screws, who have mental illness in their life, who believe that grown men should be able to walk into little girls' bathrooms, when you have people like that, yeah, they can become radicalized. Now, I'm not saying that anyone on the right couldn't become radicalized, especially depending on what they hear. But I can definitely tell you from personal observation, I don't recall people on the right demonizing the other half of the population in such a way, other than if you want to say race hustling or using race as a way to further, we talk about it all the time. And I'm going to show a clip here in a little while of Charlie Kirk debating, or not even really debating, but just discussing something. And I want you to tell me if what he says is so off base and so horrible that he should be considered a Nazi fascist. Because the other term that's thrown around is fascism, that Donald Trump's a fascist. They can't tell you what it means. They can't tell you what it actually means and in reference to what's going on with anybody's cause. It's just terms that are thrown around so carelessly and so recklessly that, yes, you will turn people and make someone who literally, in his own, supposedly his own words, remember, supposedly in his own words, let's see here. Where's that? Right there. Okay. In his own words, Tyler Robinson said, I've had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. I'm tired of his hatred. I dare anybody to watch video after video after video and tell me that Charlie Kirk had hatred as a Christian. And I'm not even saying Christians don't hate, by the way. But if you've ever actually watched anything at all, you're really, really stretching if you're trying to find something that person said that would be categorized as like hatred. Or you may not agree with some of the points. I don't agree with all the points personally. But you have a hard time with that, right? So Ronnie Trickshot in the house. What's up? G.I. Jetman also in the house. Ronnie says, hey, Bob, I have one question. What's the difference between a man walking into a little girl's bathroom versus a man walking into a little boy's bathroom? Kitty Fiddler's going to fiddle. Well, my point being, okay, is I don't think it's okay for a grown man to walk into a women's bathroom. How about that? I don't think it's okay for a man to walk into a women's bathroom where there might be little girls present. So much so that I don't believe that it's okay for a woman to go into a man's bathroom where there might be little boys present. Now, the difference is, I think we could obviously see, right? And you're right. Being transgender is not directly rated to be in a PDF. I agree with you 100%. However, the difference is biologically you are a male. Period. Again, you can wear the costume all you want, but it doesn't mean that you're whatever the costume is, right? I mean, you can dress up as Batman. It doesn't mean that you're fighting crime in the streets. I mean, it's biologically, bottom line, anyone can identify. These are my beliefs. You can identify as whatever you want to identify as, but biologically, you are a male. It doesn't change that fact. You know, it's science, right? So here's the deal. Okay, then I'll say it. I don't think all transgender people are pedophiles. How about that? Instead of dancing around the subject and pretending and using all these words like people use Yahtzee and shit like that, we'll just say it. No, I don't agree. I don't believe that. Have I known some people in my life that are? Yes, I have. Have I been to drag shows? Yes, I have. Have I been to gay bars? Yes, I have. I have known people, hung out with people, had great times with people. So by no means is that a blanket thing. What I'm saying, though, is I don't think a biological man should be in a women's bathroom. Right? And conversely, I don't think a woman should be in a boy's bathroom. Right? Now, going to drag shows for entertainment, knowing it's entertainment, yeah. It's probably been 15 years, 20 years. But I've known all kinds of people in my life. That's why I say my experiences, I talk about my experiences, my observations, my personal life, what I've been through, what I've witnessed, what I've observed. So I would be disingenuous and dishonest if I didn't give my opinion on what I've observed and been around, right? So, but I think we're misconstrued. I think what's happening here is now the fight is, well, don't, make a blanket statement. Okay, well, that's fine, but I think most of us agree that most of the press and most of the visual stuff that we've been seen and given and pushed in schools and pushed even in churches and pushed by politicians and stuff like that, trying to change the names, all right? So we're supposed to call people MAPS, minor attracted persons, or are we supposed to call them pedophiles? Which one is it? Because one sounds much worse, but if we call them MAPS, then that kind of smooths it out, right? It makes it seem like it's not a big deal, right? So you see what I'm saying? Like it's I mean, that, and that's another road we could go down. But no, not all trans people are attracted to children. Of course not. Those that I've known, to my knowledge, aren't. Right? So I'm giving you my experiences in life, right? And that's been my experience. No, you're right. So I apologize if I made it sound like they all are. However, unfortunately, we don't get to hear from most of the regular, normal people out there. We only hear from the people who literally take children to drag shows. We only hear about the groups of people that allow shit like that to go on. We only hear about groups of people that go to the extreme. We don't get to hear from most people. We only get to hear from the smallest of portions that make the loudest noise. That's who we hear from. So I want to get into the narrative. The narrative that's been pushed extensively, right, since all this went down. Because I find headlines, and I find it fascinating to hear headlines and stuff, read headlines. Because I think that it's interesting, again. Now, I'm not saying that, and you're right, Eric, he did refuse to apologize. And look, again, I free speech, all about it, 100%. Right? I'm all about it. And you're right, Bobby Wold. The difference is, and what I see is that after this event, you see people doing prayer vigils. You see people doing church get-togethers, prayers, candlelight vigils. But in 2020, we saw buildings set on fire, riots happening. People had to get them Nikes, right? Communities being destroyed, cars being burned, police cars being attacked, right? So how do two different groups react to two tragedies? Now, we're not talking about small groups either. We're talking about large groups of people. How do large groups of people react to different tragedies? And I think we've seen that with our own eyes, so we can pretend We can pretend like it hasn't happened. We can pretend that that's not the case, but we see it with our own eyes. We see it with our own eyes. And if we decide to not, right? If we decide to not call it out, or we try to pretend like it's not what it really is, then we're just doing a disservice to everyone. We're just doing a disservice to ourselves, right? And look, that's something else I want to bring up. War Chest, you're right. This was an excuse. That show doesn't make money. None of the late night talk shows make money. None of them make money. Stephen Colbert losing $20 million plus. Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, when you have a team of 20 writers and everything you write is not funny, you're going to lose money. Nobody cares about late night TV anymore. And that's a shame, because growing up on late night television, I wish it was worth tuning in. But we've seen a trickle down effect of celebrities now aren't worth a shit. They're not worth listening to. Instead of waiting for an interview from a late night host to find out some information about that actor, we already know how they feel about everything on social media. So there's no mystery. There's nothing to hear anymore. There's nothing exciting. There's nothing interesting about that person anymore, because they let you know everything they think every single day. The other problem is the late night talk shows have gone full on left leaning, period. They will not book anyone who is a right-leaning guest. They literally only book leftist celebrities. That's it. And then when they do book someone, then they sit and make fun of them, right? You know, they sit and make fun of them. They sit and demean them, talk shit to them. Jimmy Kimmel even did that with a musician that he had on his show. A guy named Chris Jansen. A guy named Chris Jansen who has a country song out, or had a country song, and Kimmel went so far as to demean him after he had been on his show. And that just shows you some of his character, right?
To encourage people not to watch in song.
Well, I ain't watching TV today. Bad news, they can just stay away. If you ain't got anything good to say, then shut your mouth. I got my windows down and my blinders on.
I got my head up my butt like a big moron. I'm singing. Sing with me, everybody.
Yeah, because that's what Kimmel does, right? Like anybody that's right of center, then if he has had him on, then he just makes fun of him and talk shit about him, like he did with a guest that he had. So let's just watch a couple videos that I've got, right? Just to get an idea of narratives, right? Just narratives. That's kind of what I want to look at. I just want to look at the narrative, right? Like, is anybody out there on CNN or MSNBC actually reporting or talking about maybe just the base level, like this is kind of what we know, this is what we've seen, or is it more of let's push whatever narrative that we can, as hard as we can. All right. So, for instance, how about this is one of my favorite videos. Now this is previous. You guys may have heard this. This is previous. This is prior to this. But I want to go back in time, and I want to bring up some of this stuff right here.
Russia hacking the election to elect Trump is the end of our democracy. Votes were definitely affected. Russia hacked the election to tilt it to Mr. Trump.
The Russians definitively hacked the election.
Russia did hack the election.
No doubt. The Russians hacked the election.
Yes, Russia hacked the election.
Fact, Russia hacked the election.
President-elect Donald Trump still not sounding convinced that Russia hacked the election.
The president does not want to come to terms with the fact that the Russians hacked the election.
President Trump says he still wonders if the Russians hacked the election.
If you can get him to accept that Russia hacked the election, see if you can get him to accept who won the Civil War.
If he admits it, it casts a shadow on his victory over Hillary Clinton.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Let's be clear, Russia hacked the election. Definitively, Russia hacked the election, and Russia is doing it again now.
Election-related cyber hacking.
Cyber hacking of U.S. elections. Cyber hacking of the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
The CIA, the FBI, NSA.
All of these intelligence organizations,
17 intelligence agencies
All conclude that Russia hacked the election.
If we find out that Donald Trump just theoretically was colluding with Russia while they were hacking the election, that is completely impeachable.
Russia hacking the election to elect Trump is the end of our democracy.
So this was then, right? That was then, which we heard all about that, right? So I love it when there's a good kind of like I just love it when we have like the cut ups, right, of all the culmination, right, of the compilations, right? They're fun. So let's see what this one is about.
Walls feel like they are closing in. As the walls closing around the president.
Donald Trump feels the walls closing in.
I think this is a guy who feels like the walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in on him, but the walls are closing in.
I mean, it's the same shit. But I love when these phrases get brought up. They get used, right? It's like, oh, the walls are closing in. Hack the election. Then we had the one where the misinformation, if you guys remember that one, where all of the news organizations got together and they made their statement about the spread of misinformation at the beginning of their newscast. I don't know, you probably guys remember that one. And let's see, I might be able to find it. I doubt it. But it was pretty funny because it literally was like a prepared statement, and it was about the spread of misinformation. But the spread of misinformation was from like 2020, and it was about the election. And of course, our news organizations are controlled by like three major groups, right? Three major groups. And those three major groups pretty much they have you with your local news and your mainstream news. And so let's see here. I want to grab some of these articles as well, just so you guys can kind of see some of these headlines, because I want you to read the headlines, and I just want to get an idea of kind of how these headlines kind of go. All right, so here we go. Now I want you guys to also remember. Is that back in let's see. Oh, I don't know. Remember when Parler got shut down? But Blue Sky is still open though, right? Remember Parler? It got shut down, right? You remember in 2020, and the government went hardcore. 2021 went hardcore after Parler, right? So that didn't get to last. And then you see these same headlines. So let's read these headlines, right? And let's just catch a few of them, such as how the U.S. right wing is taking over news media and choking press freedom. I don't know. I think this kind of happened back during the vax and COVID, when the left wing was taking over news media and choking freedom of its citizens by deplatforming professors, right? Firing professors because they didn't agree with a controversial vaccine that wasn't proven to do anything actually at all when people are getting their 7th booster shot at this point. And still getting the flu, by the way, and COVID, by the way. And then people were disagreeing with January 6th. Maybe they were disagreeing with the election. Maybe they had a problem with ballots being dropped off in the middle of the night. Write-in ballots from dead people. I don't know. But my point being is that this headline now Well, this was happening just a few years ago. It literally was happening a few years ago. Or how about this headline? People are losing their jobs due to social media posts about Charlie Kirk. This is from NPR, everybody's favorite. Right? So another one. Just another one. Let's see here. How about this Al Jazeera article? It says, from firings to the threat of deportation, commenters deemed offensive after Charlie Kirk's death faces consequences. I think if we recall, there were people being threatened to be deported, arrested, put in jail, if I remember correctly, for disagreeing with the Summer of Love in 2020. The riots, right? The riots that were going on. Or, again, the vaccine or COVID if you disagreed. Or if you tried to start up a right-wing leaning social media platform like Parler, for instance. But then you remember that Amazon Web Services and Microsoft decided that they would not host them. Well, that pretty much kills your website, right? So let's see here. How about this one here? Far-right groups dox online critics after Charlie Kirk's death. Well, let's just change a few words in there because it was far-left groups that were doxing and getting people swatted who were critical. Now, again, we're talking about someone being critical and laughing about someone getting murdered, right? Like outright murdered by someone who is a fucking fruitcake. But if you question the vaccine, by God, then you need to be shut down. You're a Nazi. You're a fascist. If you disagreed with choosing between feeding your family or taking something that you knew nothing about. Oh, I don't know. Which one's worse? You tell me. I don't know. Let's see. People are losing their jobs for criticizing slain free speech advocate Charlie Kirk. People are losing their jobs. Oh, reminds me of, I don't know, the same shit I've been talking about. Or how about this headline from The Guardian once again? Gotta love The Guardian. Several people fired after clampdown on speech over Charlie Kirk shooting. Now, I know a lot of you are probably freaking out. You're going, speech, free speech. Wait a minute. Again, I am all about free speech. All right? However, I'm not about people being free of consequences for what they say. And when you celebrate someone's murder and you're constantly celebrating it and then you get fired, then I don't know. Right? You get upset over being fired. How about this one here? Let's see. We'll just go through another headline here. I don't believe this, especially now. Most U.S. college students oppose letting controversial speakers on campus. You know why they're opposed to it? Because they've been indoctrinated in college the last few decades to where college you used to go to be open to like other ideas and to hear other perspectives. Now we have safe spaces and we have protests against someone who doesn't align with the far left ideologies of most colleges these days. Or how about this one? Charlie Kirk killing involved to bolster UK's largest far-right rally in decades. That scares people in Britain. Scares them to death that there's going to be a right rally. They're okay with the far-left rallies and protests. They're okay with that. But heaven forbid. And, of course, The Guardian once again bringing us the fantastic headlines. Let's see. Now, how about this one? Charlie Kirk believed in free speech. His fans are getting people fired for exercising theirs. Again, we are not understanding the difference between free speech and consequences for that speech. No one's ever said you couldn't say what you want to say. That's where people are getting tripped up. People are getting tripped up because they think, oh, I can say whatever I want to say. Yeah, you can. You can say whatever you want to say, but you have to understand, your job may not be okay with it. Especially if you work for a big corporation and you're on the air, or you're a writer, or you're a video game developer, you're the art director for a huge video game. See, the problem is they've been okay with these people talking shit about right-wing people for years. They have no problem with it. Until now, where you have a lot of just normies, people that really don't pay attention to this stuff, and now you got a lot of people that are pissed off. You got a lot of people that were kind of in the middle there on the fence that are starting to jump on one side of the fence because they see how one side acts towards most things and how the other side acts. You just open your eyes. I mean, you can see it. It's pretty easy. Now, I wanted to play this touching ABC report. I want to play this touching ABC report because ABC really has a grip on the relationship between Tyler Robinson and his lover. And it goes a little something like this. Hit it. All right. Make sure the volume's up. All right. Let's just listen to how he categorizes and phrases this.
We have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate, who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So a very interesting and, as Pierre said, riveting press conference, David.
It was, Tyler.
Yeah, quite riveting. I think it's very touching. My love, I'm protecting you. I'm protecting you from all these fascists that go to colleges and invite students to debate them on a number of topics to bring their ideas and their insight and their lived experiences and debate them, talk about them. Yes, I'm protecting you from someone like that. My love. Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, again, folks, look, you may not like my opinion on this, and I'm okay with it, and it might, really fire you up. Man, it is what it is. And look, there's echo chambers on all sides. Right, there's echo chambers on all sides. Just to give you an idea of kind of my lived experiences, having worked or been around whatever industry I've been around, I've been around a lot of people, a lot of different people that are very open and very promiscuous and have very lowered inhibitions. People that are down for whatever. A lot of my life had been and has been around people like that. I've had good times hanging out with all kinds of people. Right? And not everybody can say that. I don't think everybody can say that, right? I'm not giving myself a fist bump. My point being is that I tell you my lived experiences, okay, what I've seen with my own eyes, what I've witnessed with my own eyes, what I've heard with my own ears. I'm not going to tell you somebody else's. And if somebody else comes in the chat and they say, hey, that's not been my experience, right? That's cool. Sometimes I kind of wish that it was like that for everybody, right? That you didn't experience some of that stuff. Because maybe your life would just be that much easier. Right? That much easier. And you wouldn't have to think about, deal with, worry about, or if you don't have kids, you ain't got to worry about your kids being around or being, whatever, convinced or this and that. If you have friends, whatever, it doesn't matter. But bottom line is that, maybe your life would be a lot easier if you hadn't really experienced multiple types of people and multiple people that identify as a different gender. Maybe if you haven't been somewhere, been to a drag show, whatever, right? You haven't been to a gay bar to go dancing with your girlfriend, okay? You're not there for anybody else. You ain't there trying to hook up. You're there with your girlfriend to go dancing because you like dancing, you like dance music, and there's some fun dance music being played. And girls a lot of times feel like that's a safe space for them to be in, is going to a gay dance bar, gay dance club. It's a safe space for them because they know they can go and they ain't got to worry about a lot of, dudes trying to grind up on them. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, like there's all kinds of different experiences. I'm telling you my experiences and also what I see with my own eyes. And I also had the ability to look through and read through some bullshit. But I also am going to tell you what I think. And when I think there's some straight bullshit, right? I think there's a lot of bullshit involved with this. And you're seeing the left fight so hard, work so hard, working so hard. They worked overtime before we got the information with the text messages or whatever, not even the text messages, but just the information about who this kid was and his family talking about him and all this stuff. They worked so hard to convince you this was a ultra right wing, way more so than Donald Trump, MAGA. He hated Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk wasn't MAGA enough. They tried so hard to convince you of that those first couple days. And I mean really hard. And it didn't work. You know why? Because people have eyes and they have ears, and they saw with their own eyes it wasn't lining up. And that's where normies are realizing it's not lining up. Like I said earlier, when it looks like shit, it smells like shit, it probably is shit. And that's what people are recognizing right now. Now, I'm not saying that it can't be changed. I'm not saying that people can't go back. But what you've seen is none of these people are apologizing. People are firing these people over their comments and their posts, and they're fucking evil. But they're not apologizing. They're not backing down. And that's their prerogative, and that's okay. But they also have to be okay with the fact that mocking someone getting shot, right, with his kids there and his wife there, right, doesn't change the fact, right? That could or could not be. That may or may not be. That happened. It did happen. That's a fact. But take that part away from it. Bottom line is, all these people celebrating, well, you can celebrate by all means. Doesn't take away the fact that something might happen to you because you did and because you kept up with it. And like someone said earlier, Kimmel didn't apologize. I'm not asking for people to apologize. I want them to stick by their statements just like I do. Stick by your statements. You either go all in or you back all the way out. Right? I mean, that, to me, and yes, Super Butt Stuff Saturdays, War Chest, it is a real thing. Flyers have been printed. Let's take a listen to TMZ, folks. Let's take a listen to TMZ. And this is everybody's favorite news organization, right? We all love TMZ. Let's listen to TMZ after Charlie Kirk got shot.
Go to.
Did you hear all those people clapping in the background? All those women clapping in the background. All the women back there clapping in the background. Like literally just absolutely going apeshit crazy in the background. All right. Let's see here. Let's refresh this page. All right. So listen closely. And listen to all these women in the background. Just yelling and screaming.
Go to.
So much so that guy turns his head and has to look back there like, what's going on? What is happening? Right? Yeah, they're cheering because it just got reported.
Have somebody look at the Fox. Trump just posted that Charlie Kirk is dead. Janet.
Oh, wow. Just posted that Charlie Kirk is dead. So, okay. You heard all the women screaming. You heard all the, big to-do about it. Boy, they were really thrilled. Really thrilled with that news. I mean, just couldn't wait to hear. Oh, you could hear him clapping. Absolutely. You heard him clapping. You heard him screaming like little schoolgirls. Well, this is what TMZ had to say about what actually happened during that moment.
We were live streaming all day during this tragedy when something happened in our office. As we were reporting the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there were some people in the back room away from our news desk here who were watching a car chase, and they were laughing, they were clapping, and you could hear it out here. And we want to make a couple of things clear. One is that I know these people, and they were not laughing, they were not reacting that way about Charlie Kirk's assassination. They were not. They would not work here if they did.
And
Right.
that being said, we acknowledge that it was horrible timing. And
So it was horrible timing, right? Horrible timing. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's find out if it was horrible timing, folks. Let's just see how horrible that timing was.
Oh, I don't need TMZ's cameras. There's nothing I love more than a good investigation, and I'm coming to you guys with the receipts.
Janet, go to. Have somebody look at the Fox. Trump just posted that Charlie Kirk is dead.
As we were reporting the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there were some people in the back room away from our news desk here who were watching a car chase, and they were laughing, they were clapping, and you could hear it out here.
Exhibit A, the alleged car chase that they were watching.
Right there on the banner below, you can see it started in Temple City, and we saw that. Go ahead, Philip.
Well, I wanted to let you know that President Trump has said Charlie Kirk has died. So that is the breaking news that we are likely about to have with ABC News.
Exhibit B, the giant clocks around their office. Exhibit C, don't worry, you won't have to do the math because I've done it for you. Timestamp time. It is 1:07 and 15 seconds in the afternoon with the timestamp on their video of 3 hours, 42 minutes and 5 seconds.
for 3 o'clock in Utah time, which is 2 o'clock Pacific.
Exhibit D, we have the cheering starting at exactly 4 hours, 17 minutes, and 15-second mark, which is a difference of 35 minutes and 10 seconds. So if you take the timestamp plus the clock saying it was 1:07 and 15 seconds, add 35 minutes and 15 seconds, what time would you have? 1:43. So they technically were watching a car chase video. What do you think they were cheering for?
People in the back room away from our news desk here who were watching a car chase, and they were laughing, they were clapping, and you could hear it out here. And we want to make a couple of things clear. One is that I know these people, and they were not laughing, they were not reacting that way about Charlie Kirk's assassination. They were not. They would not work here if they did.
Right. Right. So they still have not come out and said it. They're standing by it. They're standing by that. Okay? They are standing by that statement. And that tells you a lot, right? Because I love when he says they would never work here. Get the fuck out of here. Can you imagine those conversations at TMZ over the last few years? Like, can you imagine some of the things that have happened and the responses behind the scenes, right? You know? And yeah, I'm with you, Dreadnought. Like, I want these people to expose themselves. You know, I want them to be out there. I want people to know who they are, because that's where you've seen people. The Jimmy Kimmel thing, people are canceling Disney Plus over it. Now, they're canceling Disney Plus for the wrong reasons. They're canceling Disney Plus because Jimmy Kimmel got taken off the air. Now, is he going to be taken off the air forever? I doubt it. But again, that show's not making money. But that's what I find funny. You have people who are now fired up because they've seen the reactions of all these people, right? And they're realizing that, man, this is not, I don't like this. I don't like these people. This doesn't align with my values. And I'm not saying everybody has great values and all that stuff, but you understand, most people are reacting that way. Then you have the people canceling Disney Plus because they took Jimmy Kimmel off the air, which for me only makes me laugh because you know how much I talk shit about Disney, right? So you know, it's and Lunatic. Hey, love the name, love the statement, welcome in. And I appreciate it. And yes, you're right. In the end, they finally proved him wrong about something that they cannot be reasoned with. You've seen it over the last several years. Reasoning does not work, because when you try to talk and you try to reason with people, what do? They resort to name calling. They call you fascist. They call you Nazi. They call you, well, anyway. Yes, they call you racist. Every istophobe that they can say in the book, they use the same playbook over and over and over again. And I'm not saying there aren't good people who vote Democrat. I'm not saying there aren't good people who have left-leaning policies, right? But unfortunately, those people are being pushed out. And those people need to be pissed. They need to be pissed at their own party. Like, they need to be pissed at these fucking freaks that are out there running their fucking mouths and making their social media videos and ruining any chance they have. And you're seeing now with an article, for instance, and I love articles like this. I told you guys we were going to get deep. I love articles like this that just really, for me, say so much about what there is to say. So this is another Guardian article, because the Guardian just loves to use the scare tactics and all that bullshit. This is an op-ed article by a guy named Timothy Garton Ash, and this is his comment. This is the title of his article. Americans have 400 days to save their democracy. Now, what I find so funny is that the Founding Fathers didn't use the word. You can't find the word democracy in the Federalist Papers. You can't find it in anything the Founding Fathers actually wrote. But this is a constant phrase that you heard it from Kamala Harris. You heard it from over and over, from Joe Biden over and over. If you elect Donald Trump, democracy is dead. Well, have we seen that? Have we seen democratic process? And Charlie Kirk didn't believe in democracy, because he didn't believe in just majority rules no matter what. He didn't believe in that. Right? There is gray area in life, and that's something that I definitely try to see a lot. There is gray area. Only Sith deal in absolutes, all right? So there is gray area in people's lives, right? Everybody has things they'll waver on. Everybody has a price, for one. And everybody has bendable principles. And the people that don't have bendable principles, people denigrate them. Now, depends on what your principles are, right? But ultimately, War Chest, yes, aliens, gray, gay, or critter style. Yeah, my gray area is between my ears, although I don't know what it's looking like anymore. Lunatic says there's no way Republicans lose the midterm elections. I agree. And while that may piss people off, its bottom line is their voices are being drowned out. So the LGBTQ community, I talk to people all the time, and their voices are being drowned out. You know who they're being drowned out by? The extreme voices within their community that are all about the things that I'm being told not all of them are about. Because I know not all of them are about that. But the ones that are drowning out the regular, everyday, hardworking people who just want to live their lives and not be recognized or called out or whatever, or they're not making videos because someone misgendered them by accident. Do we understand? Are we on the same page? Do we understand what I'm trying to say? Because people say, well, they always use the same, the same people, and it's all, yeah, because those are the people that are out there beating the drum. Of course they're going to make the most noise. Of course they're going to get the headlines. Of course they're going to get the news. Right? But the everyday people that you and I know in our lives, they're not out there trying to bang that drum. It's such an old, race is such an old ass topic, right? Gay marriage, being gay is an old ass topic. People don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. That's why I talked earlier about race hustlers, and now you have gay hustlers or trans hustlers, because no one would give a shit about them. No one cares what they do in their personal life. But they have to make sure you know what they do, even though you don't want to know. And all the other people I just mentioned are being drowned out by those voices. Absolutely drowned out. So no. You know what? You got 400 days to save their now, I don't know where the hell this sumbitch is from. But the bottom line is that it comes down to, yeah, you might have 400 days to what this guy thinks you need to save your democracy. Man, I think they need to reflect and talk about a lot more than that. They need to get back down to just being regular human beings, normal human beings who think normal things, right? People allowing people see, and people talk about, oh, the right wing extremists, the right wing extremists. Well, we just don't see the right wing extremists. Like, who gets more press? Like, who gets more press? Right? And who sounds unhinged? It's all about it's all about what it looks like, right? What does it look like? How does it come off? How do people view different sides? And after the last week and a half or whatever, there's a lot of people out there that have decided to take more of a notice than ever before. And that's the scary part. Like, that's the scary part, because you have more people now waking up realizing these motherfuckers are unhinged. They're off the fucking chain. And I ain't cool with that shit. People celebrate. I mean, come on, man. You can say what you want to say. Just understand there might be consequences for it. All right, so let's see here. God, I got some great videos that I want to play for sure. And then let me see here. All right, so again, we have the classic, playbook here of from a few years ago. Now, most of you guys in this chat right now, all right, most of you guys in this chat right now are the same color as me. So when you have somebody like this, whether you're right or left, how does this make you feel?
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. We should be profiling, monitoring, and creating policies to fight the radicalization of white men. I would say.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. We should. We should, because we just saw what happened when one of them shot and killed somebody. We just saw it just happen. But also we had, let's see, at this point, it's almost kind of like it's blurred lines, because I think we had the Covenant shooting here in Nashville. We had Minneapolis, we had, at this point, it's starting to get a little blurred here as far as who we may need to be afraid of, right? As far as who our kids need to be afraid of. I don't know. I mean, especially recently, I just, but then again, you also have people that hate this country, right? They hate this country, but then they are free to speak about it. They can actually talk about it. They can say they hate it here, and they don't have to move, because they never do. Because if they went back to wherever they came from, they'd realize they were living in a shithole. Or somewhere that they ran away from, because they're not allowed to speak their mind. They're not allowed to actually have have a voice, as they like to say. Let's see over here. I'm just over here knocking out printed goodness and listening. A little 3D printer action. Lunatic, freaking insane. Yes. And then I guess, Ronnie, from an algorithmic standpoint, and I guess it depends on what country you live in and who covers your news, who is controlling your news, right? But I dare say, if you look at social media, I mean, yeah, we feed the algorithm, but you'd be surprised at what I feed the algorithm, right? My algorithm has all kinds of stuff, and it is definitely not probably what you think it is. I can definitely say that. Let's see here. Yeah, sorry, your parents should have to have been born here to serve any level of government. Well, I think we've definitely seen that, what's happening in New York City, where you have a avowed socialist that's wanting to get elected, and I, appreciate New York City for wanting to go there. I'm curious to see how that turns out for them. Definitely. I mean, I bottom line again, this is my experience. This is my lived experience. This is through these eyes. Is it an echo chamber? Maybe, but I will say this, ultimately at the end of the day is that, I firmly believe that you could say, well, what does the algorithm look like? All we have to do is point to the news that we're given, right? I mean, really and truly, look at your local news. Look at your mainstream news. Look at your mainstream media. Look at your mainstream media and the articles, several that I just shared, right? Now, will you find on a Fox news site articles that maybe have a differing opinion? Of course you will. But be willing to bet that most of our mainstream media, whether that is magazines, websites from large corporations, are definitely 100%, not 100%, but my point being is that most of your large corporations over here that provide the news are super left-leaning, and therefore that's why it's impossible. It's very difficult to actually get actual news. That's why the term fake news came about, because a lot of it is. A lot of those headlines I shared, fake news. It's really, and there's way more of those than there are of, yeah, no, exactly. That, it's, I think right now, the bottom line is you are seeing a lot of people that are starting to read between the lines. They're starting to actually see through the media companies, right? That are actually really starting to kind of wake up and look for themselves, right? Search for themselves. Try to pull from different sources. And I think that is definitely important to do. I read a lot of these, I read a lot of these liberal websites. I read a lot of them. I read a lot of these articles, right? But when we're reading and when we're listening, you have to kind of read between the lines. You have to look at the phrases. You have to look at what you're being fed or what you're being given. Right, and then that's what you question. The headline alone, right? And as far as Rupert, Murdoch, in Australia, I would dare say that most of your country at this point is more on like a super left leaning. I could be wrong because you live there, but again, that comes from what are we provided here, and that comes from the left leaning like websites and stuff. Not necessarily from like a Fox News or whatever. But again, I don't live there. And one thing that's extremely difficult to do is try to gauge the public interest or public feelings for a, for a country that you don't live in, which, it happens all the time. It's like the real only news you get from, let's say, the Middle East or whatever, obviously is going to be extremely controlled. And then if you do have reporters that are in it that are trying to provide you, proper information, sometimes that stuff gets through, right? But for the most part, extremely difficult to actually get true, actual true, information that is correct. So, Oh Lord, you guys may or may not have heard about Joy Reid. I've got some videos to play you before I jump out of here, but it's still gonna take me a little while. Joy Reid, she's a handful, and in 2023, and a lot of you have forgotten about this because Charlie Kirk was not a fan of affirmative action. Neither am I. I think that you promote people based off of merit. I don't think you promote them based off of their skin color. I think it's against the law to do that in the first place, from what I understand. But companies still do it. But I think affirmative action is not a good policy for companies. And but we had Joy Reid who confirmed this for us. Now again, this is a couple of years ago, but I've seen people bringing this up. About affirmative action, right? What did Charlie believe? What did he not believe? Was he not a fan of, right? And a lot of those things, Republicans or conservatives are not real crazy about, right? If he didn't believe this, then they're like, I don't know. That's why, there's a lot of people who weren't A-okay with everything that he said. Just like no one should be okay with everything anyone says, let alone a public figure or a politician. That's for sure. But Joy Reid confirmed this to us in 2023, and I think it bears, I think it's, bears definitely repeating.
Well, let me just be clear. I got into Harvard only because of affirmative action.
Well, there you go. And most people that have listened even just a little bit to a lot of her comments could understand that. But just one video of many. Let's see here. All right, let's grab a few before I sneak up out of here tonight. Oh, I did want to. So this is from Yahoo News, and I just wanted to give you guys an idea, right, of the headlines, because I just find them so goofy. For instance, David Cornsweet, the new Superman, Yahoo News article. David Cornsweet's giant Superman bulge in new pic has the gays gasping for breath. Lovely headline. Oh Lord. That Cornsweet bulge. Heaven forbid Sydney Sweeney wear blue jeans. All right, so to give you guys an idea, this is some cringy stuff, but this is kind of fun. Some of this is like truly hard to actually believe happens. It really, really is. And I don't know why anybody in the developed world would whinge about, lack of privilege. Right. You're absolutely right. Because if you said, okay, well, for instance, if you said someone would move to Africa, right? They say, oh, well, I don't have, I can't, I have the same opportunities as white people or Asian people or whatever. I can't get the same opportunities. It's like, this is the most opportunistic country in the world. Like that's just not, that is fact, right? And so, so you're right. I find it too. I find it amazing that people go, I'm going to move. I'm moving to here. And it's like, okay, go right ahead. Right? Like go right ahead and move there. But, it's going to be difficult for you to do the same thing. So here we go. Here's a fun one right here. I'm going to share this with you guys. We'll knock out a few videos and then we'll boogie. I do love this video, by the way. It's pretty funny.
This is why we lost. Part 2.
Trust black women, they lead the way. Trust black women, they lead the way. White women, stop abandoning your sisters. Trust black women, they lead the way. Oh, we're mad as hell. Oh, can't you tell? Oh, we're mad as hell. Yeah.
Thank you. What the fucking hell is that? Oh my gosh. That's brutal. Let's see here. Another one. What is the hang on a second. I gotta see here something. What the hell's going on? Visual effects. No background. No background. Audio, camera, no background. Some weird shit was going down there just a second ago. What is that little interesting. Recording, stay in the studio, uploading. Fascinating. Okay. All right, let me share another one with you guys here. As I check really quickly, I just want to check one thing. Okay, StreamYard, man, StreamYard has some really weird stuff that they do now. And they've updated it, and they've done some strange things, and it's just, it's really fascinating, actually. Because sometimes you don't even know what it is, right? Like, you don't even know what it is. Okay, so here's a little bit of a clip, just a little bit. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but just a clip from the other day. And this is from Greg Gutfeld. And this is on Fox. But I find it interesting, you know, what he says. And I think that a lot of people do feel this way at this point. I think a lot of people feel this way.
Yes, we don't need it. What is interesting here is why is only this happening on the left and not the right? That's all we need to know. There's absolutely no cognitive...
What about Melissa Hortman that we just
okay, you want to talk about Melissa Hortman? Did you know her name before it happened? None of us did. None of us were spending every single day talking about Mrs. Hortman. I never heard of her until after she died.
She doesn't matter?
Don't play that bullshit with me. You know what I'm saying is there was no demonization, amplification about that woman before she died. It was a specific crime against her by somebody who knew her. The same. Now you could bring up Josh Shapiro, but then you will not bring up, for example, that was a pro-Palestine person. So don't use your what about this? The fact of the matter is the both sides argument not only doesn't fly, we don't care. We don't care about your both sides argument. That shit is dead. For one thing, there is no cognitive dissonance on our side. On your side, your beliefs do not match reality, so you're coming up with these rationalizations like, what about this or what about that? We're not doing that because we saw it happen. We saw a young, bright man assassinated, and we know who did it. We are not coming up with rationalizations. We are calm, we are honest, and we are resolute. We're not defensive, and I understand the defensiveness. I understand why people are saying, what about this and what about this? Because if you have to face the underlying fact of this, your life is going to fall apart because you're going to realize you're not the good guys. If you sat around and you defended the mutilation of children, you're not the good guys. If you sat 600, 700 cases of harassment against Republicans and you said, but what about this? What about this? And then you see this murder after calling somebody a fascist, you realize maybe I'm not the good guy. That is a hell of a realization to deal with. So therefore,
it is a hell of a realization to deal with. And I believe there's a lot to that. I think that's why you're seeing a lot of people who are waking up and they're looking around and they're going like, nah, that shit ain't cool. That ain't okay. And yet you still have people making excuses for it, right? Still making excuses for, like, you know, celebrating or cheering or or stuff like this, for instance, which I really have a hard time with, personally. Stuff like this. I'll turn the volume down because it is loud. Okay. Like watching somebody do this. No, that's a cop. That's a cop. Oh, sorry. Over here. You know, you have a memorial out there. We've seen them put up for children at schools. You've seen them put up for other people. People put them up for car accidents, stuff like that. You know, and then you get some kid running through, like, kicking the shit out of everything, right? Stepping on stuff, right? There's nothing okay about that, right? Do you hear anybody coming out and saying, like, you know, yeah, that shit ain't cool. That's not right. No, what you do see is people coming out and going, you know, yeah, they deserve that. That memorial deserved that. You do see that behavior, right? And for instance, you know, here's another one, right? You do see this behavior.
That's you guys promoting violence. Record all you want.
Look at these streets, dude.
Well, are you? No, look at this shit. Check it out. Look at this shit.
Fuck Charlie Kirk. Fuck Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, that's the people. That's the people you want representing, right? That's the people you want representing. How about this video? All right. How about this video, folks? This is a real winner of a mother right here. How about this video? All right. Let's see.
I have the best news ever.
What? Donald Trump died?
Second best news.
The Vice President died?
Okay, third best news.
That Elon Musk died?
Okay, no. Nobody died. My best friend's getting married.
Which one is it?
Taylor Swift! Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got engaged! I have the best news.
How fucking disgusting is that? Right? How disgusting is that? You know, I mean, you're not even like provoking. You're not even like leading them on. You're literally saying, hey, what's the best news today? And the kids are honestly answering. Right? And then you have, you know, well, what's the second? No, you're wrong. What's the second best news today? Right? And it's like, no. And yeah. Disgusting fucking mom. All right. How about this one, folks? How about this guy? This guy, he's let's see.
I want to dedicate this next one to an absolute piece of shit of a human being. The pronouns was, were.
Now, context.
Because if you touch shit, you will get banned!
This was about a, I think this was about a, let's see. And this is what I love about community notes. Hang on. Let me go back. This was about, shit, if I can get it. Come on. This was about U.S. visas for Bob Dylan and members of the band were revoked in June 25 prior to Charlie Kirk's death. So they didn't revoke their visas, okay? But these were their comments. So their visas didn't get revoked at that time. But this is from a show post Charlie Kirk. Then we have, let's see here. Gotta love it. Just to show. Oh, hang on a minute. I do have this person here, which this is curious. I don't know how this is possible, but I definitely want to show it because again, science, right? Again, science.
A daily reminder to exercise free will. Today, I exercised my free will and booked a hysterectomy. I am getting my uterus launched out of my body in early November if insurance approves it and all things go right. And I'm very excited about it. It's a daily reminder.
Okay. Alrighty. If that's how you feel. You can understand why people see this stuff now and they go, oh.
That had absolutely nothing to do with sports. And they said, look, you can't have this opinion. It's too conservative. We're not going to allow it. I think that's a bad move. I'm a First Amendment absolutist. I believe in only two things completely, the First Amendment and boobs. And so once they made the decision that they were not going to allow a conservative, non-sports related commentary, they couldn't do it
Hold on. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly as a woman anchoring the show. Did you say, what did you just say? You believe in the First Amendment and BWBS?
She can't even say the word boobs. That's how ridiculous this is. She can't even say the word boobs. So she has to say BOOBS. These are the people, okay, that were so offended at Clay Travis saying that the two things that have never let me down in my life are the First Amendment and boobs. And you can see, look at this dude. By the way, this dude on the left, this black guy who looks horrified, he can't believe himself. He can't believe.
Boobs. Two things that have only never let me down in this entire country's history, the First Amendment and boobs. So those are the only two things I believe in absolutely in the country. And so I don't think Jemele Hill should be fired.
Now look at their faces. Look at their faces. Hang on. The shock. Now this black guy, by the way, has posted all kinds of videos about chicks with big asses and stuff like that, talking shit and like, oh, look at that ass and big asses. You can go through his Twitter profile and all that shit. And here he is feigning, clutching his pearls, right? He's clutching his pearls on here because he's on CNN, so he has to, right? And then this chick here who, whatever, how she got to her job. But my point is that now she can't believe that Clay Travis says that the two things that, never let me down in this country are First Amendment and boobs.
I do think, straight up, that once you make the decision that you are going to let Kurt Schilling go, that you have to also make the decision that you're going to let Jemele Hill go. I think that's a bad decision. I think ESPN has made bad decisions that have led to 13 million subscribers bailing on the network. They've made bad decisions that have led to ratings collapsing. Jemele Hill's television show is collapsing. Ratings were down 20% last week over last year. I think that's why she's angry. I think that's why she went after Donald Trump. She's begging for ESPN to fire her so she can work somewhere else.
Okay. Keith?
So none of that argument that he made, which he's saying, I don't believe that this person on ESPN should be fired for her comments because she's able to make those comments, right? It's like, but they don't hear any of that, which feeds into their whole thing, right? But they don't hear any of that.
Listen, I'm astonished at almost everything I just heard.
Right, because this is the same guy who's posted about big asses on chicks and stuff like that, right? He's astonished. Yeah, a black man who doesn't like boobs.
One of the things that, and Jamele's a personal friend, not just a colleague, but a personal friend. One of the things that Jamele's had to deal with her entire career, and many women who I'm friends with in this business and have been friends with in this business for a long time, is sexism, blatant sexism.
I knew he was going to go there. We don't even have to watch the whole clip. What a fucking chud. What a fucking chud. What a lying piece of shit. Right? What a lying piece of shit. How about this one? I love this one right here. This one's fun. This is everybody's favorite Native American.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah. But hey, the party of acceptance. The party of acceptance. We've got another meltdown. Let's see here. What is this one?
Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. Why do you not love trans and queer people as their authentic selves?
Okay.
So why don't you love us as our authentic self?
I don't know if you're looking for answers, so I can't hear one.
Take a couple steps back. You guys can talk about it, but just take a couple steps back and bring it down a couple notches.
I don't think I want to talk to you. I'm looking for an answer. I can get more, man.
If you had an answer, you don't have one because you don't believe in our true existence. And if you don't believe in the existence of people with pride, stay the hell away from them. Learn to be ignorant.
Keep walking.
Oh, look at the one who's angry, right?
Of course I'm angry because I can't get health care. I can't get housing. I can't get an interview, let alone a job.
Wait. I can't get an interview, let alone a job. Well, I would probably say that it might have something to do with it. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. How about this meltdown?
You need to take that hat off now. It's disgusting. You're disgusting. You're wearing this outfit that my husband fought for this country. And look at you. Look at you. You're a piece of doo-doo and you know it. You ruined this country. You and all of your people that have robots. Robots. You're robots. You drank the Kool-Aid, didn't you, huh? Didn't you? You need to take this soldier outfit off because you don't deserve to wear it. You are ruining this country. You are ruining this country. How dare you? All of your people.
Jesus. Holy moly. Woo! Oh my goodness. It's pretty good. Okay. All right. I got one more. Well, I got more than one more. Fuck this shit. I got one more. I got more than one more. All right, here we go. Here's another one for you. Again, this is this kind of
Do you
stuff.
think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
This is what kicking the shit out of fascism looks like.
Try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us.
So when we say Donald Trump is a fascist, fascism
a huge component of fascism is uniting racism, bigotry, a form of racist nationalism.
We are now living in a fascist dictatorship.
We are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country. We're worried about our democracy falling to an authoritarian and potentially fascist form of government.
Not only to roll over to Donald Trump's will, but to roll over our democracy and allow him to take over this country as a fascist dictator.
When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here.
The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, said, "No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core."
And that's how you radicalize people, right? When that's, I think mostly what you heard about Joe Biden was Sleepy Joe. His family should be ashamed for having him out there on that platform. You know what I mean? Like that's mostly what you heard. Of course, you also heard the fact that, he shouldn't be in that position, and it wasn't real. And then they tried to, you remember they tried to force Kamala in there too, right? Without proper election process. They literally tried to force her in there. You see you see how desperate, right? Like desperate they were to get in full power. And then we saw what happened for 4 years with that power, holding political prisoners from this country in jail, the constant calling people fascists and Nazis, which that's their game plan. If you're a conservative, so if you're a 75-year-old woman who voted for Donald Trump, in their eyes, you are a fascist, you are a racist, you are a transphobe, you are a Nazi, you are a bigot. That's their game plan, and their game plan backfired, and it's going to continue to backfire after this. You will have far less people on your side, and as more and more people find videos like that, like these, you are going to lose so many people on your side. I mean, it just is like you cannot deny that. And it's sad, really, because ultimately you would think that people would come together. They'd say, "Hey, you know what? We need to stop these people from hijacking our we need to stop them from hijacking our party." Right? Warchester says, "I got to see a lady slap a hat off a man's head in front of a Bass Pro, and he was cool. Didn't do shit. She even spit on him, but then his wife took her to town. It was like watching a bear beat a child." I gotta love that, right? I gotta love that. I wish I'd have seen that. Yeah, the lawfare was out of control. I hope I'm reading that right, Jay Gonzo. I hope I'm reading that right. Okay, so again, and these are videos that get tons of views. I mean, people liking and sharing and stuff like that, but it's just not good, and I think people are seeing through it.
I have breaking news. We think that Charlie Kirk just got shot in the neck. Hey, ooh, ah, ooh.
Okay. Yeah, it's oh no.
Cut the music. Cut the
no bra involved there. Holy shit.
music.
Ooh.
In real talk, I am not truly celebrating that he got shot in the neck. I think it's really sad for his family because I know he was a father, and if he does pass away from this, hopefully not, hopefully so, that is not good because bringing kids up in a broken family is never good. And gun violence, again, I think we should go back to having this conversation and who's allowed to have access to these guns, because now public figures are getting shot left and right. I mean, it's not every other day, but truly, what a tragedy.
So you're going to post a video of you dancing to the song Celebration by Kool and the Gang, and you're going to sing the words, that Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck. And like the Dems have been doing recently, they've been trying to have their cake and eat it too. They're trying to play both sides of the fence. They're trying to. So she celebrates, and then she goes, "No, but really, it's a tragedy. He was a father, and he has children." No. Everything after your little fucking dance scene means nothing. Like, means nothing. You can't think that people are going to watch that and go, but she did say that she really didn't want to, I mean, it's kind of a, get the fuck out of here. I mean, seriously. It's, yeah. Yeah, you're right, Dreadnought. She would probably jump in the car afterwards, hopping in the car like she would, and, celebrating the abortion that she probably was going to get multiple times, right? And look, I don't know if this chick is the same one that's done the multiple abortion thing or not, but I got to tell you, here's another video I like to see. Yes, such as.
I was just fired from my job.
Not gonna listen to your stupid ass. So the Carolina Panthers. We've got let's see, Tesla fired an employee here. Let's see what else we got. The Las Vegas Realtors Board of Directors fired and removed from all positions. I don't want to play the song because I don't want to get hit. North Carolina Community College System has been made aware of an incident at the Technical Community College, and guess what? Fired. Keep them coming, right? Keep them coming. Let's see here. I don't know, maybe if there's no music. No. This chick got fired. I don't know who she is. I really don't give a shit. She looks awful, hideously. The eyebrows, like, I don't know what's happening there, but that shit looks goofy as fuck. Yeah, I mean, look, I love it. Right? Cumberland University professor fired. Phoenix sports writer fired. That's all they wanted out of us. That's all they wanted. They wanted us. They want us in the ground. That's how they feel. It is the truth. And so am I okay with these people getting fired? 100% I am. Right? Marine Jacoby Williamson fired after celebrating. Another racist man popped. That was his celebration. Well, he's kicked out of the armed forces. Let's see. Walter Reed Hospital, Middle Peninsula, terminated. Look, I would tell anybody and everybody, I'm not a fan of you not being able to use your free speech. You should be able to use free speech. That's what this country is founded upon, being able to criticize your government and stuff like that. And I think that is still in effect. I think that the consequences, as we've seen, look, a few years ago we saw it where there was a rash of people getting fired, losing their positions because the left was making sure that was happening, that people were losing their positions for certain comments, right? So now that it's happening the other direction, well, now it's a problem, right? Now it's a big deal, right? It's an issue. And so, again, they started this precedent. They set this precedent after George Floyd in particular, but even prior to that, they set this precedent of cancel culture and canceling people and firing them, right? And I agree. You should never be killed over your speech. But, again, Are there people who go out there on a microphone and they are yelling and screaming and like yelling at people and stuff like that and, you know, making comments? Yeah, there are. And those people can do that. They're allowed to do that, right? Unfortunately, you have someone who literally, you know, was changing the minds, or at least having a lot of young minds start to look at facts, look at reality, start to look at things through the lens of like common sense rather than what we've been sold the last several years, that throw common sense and science out of the window. And we want you to believe that you know, made up things that are playtime, trumps science, right? And we all know, people with common sense know that is not the case. And that, you know, people that live in the real world, right? The real world, understand that. And you have a lot more people who live in the real world now, a lot of normies, like I said earlier, that are waking up. You have posts like this by the Yakima County Washington Democratic Party, posting posts such as this, which I gotta love it, right? This is the Yakima County Democrats in Washington. It has 14 comments, 1 share, 12 reactions. They even deleted it right here. This says they deleted it. And so yeah. It's like the internet is forever. The internet is forever. Let's see here if I can find here's another one. Here's another great one. We got to enjoy this one together, folks. Some of these I've been sent, some of these I dug up, but you guys have sent me some great stuff.
Did you guys see that activist in America, Charlie Kirk? He got shot. Did you see that? That guy loves gun violence, and he got shot. Did you see that? Oh man, Charlie Kirk. You know, to the Charlie Kirk family. Did you see all that blood that came out of his body? It was like, whoa. To every Zionist, every Christian Zionist, may you be just like that shop, the Target. All his followers, just like the shop, the Target. I'm not saying that violence isn't the way, so don't misconstrue my words, okay? Did you see all that blood?
What a fucking fruitcake, man. Like, what a fucking fruitcake. Seriously. Like, this dude. Time to put your pink panties back out the drawer, brother. Come on now. Fucking fruitcakes. And you know, those are the people you should have a problem with, right? Like, those are the people that you should have a problem with. There's so many, it's almost hard to even really like keep track of them. I mean, there's just so many teachers, nurses, right? I mean, you've got 2 teachers here, for instance, and where the hell were these chicks at? Let's see. South Dakota resigned after post celebrating the assassinations. Looked like he took one for the team. Hope he is roasting. He spewed hate, racism, and misogyny, so I'm not shedding any tears. Then the orange POS, pedophile rapist once flags at half-mast. I served for 20 years. My husband served for 26. We will never get flags flown at half-mast. Well, I wouldn't want them flown for you at this point now. I don't know. I mean, but whatever. Yet this vile-ass kissing piece of shit does pathetic. And then you have the other person, I never wished a man dead, but I've read some obituaries with great pleasure, quoting Clarence Darrow. Bottom line is again, I have no problem if these people, get fired or whatever. It really doesn't bother me at all. And then we do have, I don't know if you guys have seen this. I know some of y'all follow Destiny. I'll just get into the video game realm just a little bit. Destiny is a huge streamer on Twitch. Destiny has been banned from Twitch. My entire income is gone now. So much for the party of free speech. No, Destiny, actually, it's not. You went on Piers Morgan and you talked shit and you celebrated the death, and Twitch is like, you know what? We're good. We don't want you. And if you see my comment over here to the right, I said Hassan better be next. Of course, Cage Custom said exactly. Yeah, nah. It's it's again, seeing these people and watching, reading, hearing from them. And Destiny, you know what? I mean, you've made more money than most of us will ever see in our entire lives. A lot of us put together. I would say, you're probably going to be okay. And honestly, I really don't give a shit because you are a piece of shit. That's just the truth. Unfortunately, you cannot coexist with evil. Yeah, no, you're right, Johnny. And Eric says punchable face. Yeah, with that fruitcake a few minutes ago, and yeah, I mean, look, he's a good man. I mean, whatever opinions he had, if overall, if you really look into it, he actually was a actual good person, a good man, with a family and everything, and even the family part. Like, just take away the family. You don't have to, bottom line is dude actually lived his life, and in the way a lot of like Christians that say they want to or do, he actually did that. But he was moderate, as Eric Thurman mentions. He was a moderate, and that is true. And not everybody. Okay, well then I'll look into that. Because yeah, if it went on an hour before I went live, then I damn sure didn't get a chance to look at it. That's for sure. But I also do know that he has a son who hates him and a wife who left him. I do know about that. But yeah, I have to check into that and see after I'm done here in a few minutes. Okay, so I want to show you something. Bethesda. Everybody knows Bethesda, right? Fallout, Skyrim. Huge games, right? Well, this is something that they posted, right? And this is quite interesting because they say good kitty. Now they're being cheeky. They think they're being cheeky. They think they're being funny, right? But if you know, you know. All right, come on. Don't fail me now. Or not. Or you will. Come on. Probably can't even read it. It looks like shit. Video quality. Ugh. It's ugly as hell. All right, let's see. I'll see if I can find the clip really quickly. Anyway, Bethesda posted a video of a cat, and they have a video game, and you can actually see the words which the person talking to the cat says, good kitty. Yeah, okay, here we go. And I think this might have been from Indiana Jones. It was from Indiana Jones. Okay, so anyway, here's what he says to the cat.
Huh. Nice place. You don't care much about these fascists, do you?
That's from the Indiana.
So just to play it one more time. I'll crank it up as loud as I can get it. As loud as I can get it. Let's see. Here we go. Okay.
Huh. Nice place. You don't care much about these fascists, do you?
That's from the Indiana.
So Bethesda went out of their way to post that, right? They went out of their way to post that, and it now shows me a lot about it shows me a lot about Bethesda, and I'd like to know who it was that posted that, honestly. So, look, ultimately, like I said, I called it last week, consequence culture. It happens. It is what it is. People have to own up to it. Does it mean you can't have free speech? No, of course not. But there's consequences for that free speech. And like I said, they set the precedent 2020 or prior. Gina Carano, because she didn't want to put pronouns in her bio, right? And then on top of that, she liked an Instagram post or story about how the government was using the citizens to tattletale on each other, just like Nazi Germany did to tattletale on Jews back then. The results being different, but the tactics were the same, because we all saw people talking shit to other people who didn't have a mask on, and they were trying to make people feel bad. I literally got told in the parking lot of my work by one of my regulars who I really liked, who has treated me really well at Christmas time back in 2020, that winter. He said that you're what's wrong with this country, right? It was 2021. He said, you're what's wrong with this country. You haven't had the vaccine yet? I said, no. Why do I need it? Because you're killing people right now. That's what he told me. Now, mind you, this is a guy whose wife wouldn't let him go to the Nashville Predators hockey games because she was terrified of him getting COVID and bringing it back home. But he would hang out in a fucking dive bar every night across the street, around a packed bar with tons of people in it. But heaven forbid, he couldn't go to a damn hockey game. It's a fucking joke. And this guy's telling me I'm the problem with this country, that I'm killing people. What, you don't care about elderly people or children? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Son of a bitch. Christ. I mean, just hearing those words come out of some... I was embarrassed for him. Honestly. Embarrassed for him. All right, the last thing I'm going to show you guys, because I do got to get out of here, is and in Utah, folks, by the way, in Utah, the people that are showing up to vote out there, they are 40 and over. So they have people that are 40 and under making their policies, voting in their politicians. It's interesting because it's totally, I think it's going to be totally different over the next several years. I think that movement, oh shit, no, all right. So I'm going to show you guys a couple things from Starbucks, and then I'm going to show you one video to finish things off. And I apologize for not in the chat, but let me get this really quickly. As Warchest says, you can't be saying stuff like that. My brother is in charge of a cath lab. Oh no, told me a few nurses were laughing about Kirk and celebrating. They ended up being removed from work. Yeah, that sucks, right? That sucks. And you can actually lose your nursing license over that. Nursing board gives zero effects when it comes to making fun of people dying. Well, here's the deal. What were they doing during COVID when nurses were shirking their responsibilities, making TikTok fucking videos, dancing while people were dying in their hospitals? You remember that shit? I like to hear that, but yeah, you remember that shit? And that's interesting. Yeah, he unfortunately, Harrison is a piece of shit. Johnny Reno, Michael Keaton, sadly, definitely, from what I understand and from what I've read. And then Dreadnought K6, yeah, he's been banned on Twitch before. I know he keeps coming back. That's what Twitch does, right? They ban people, then they bring them back. It's like OnlyFans, right? You know what I mean? It's literally like OnlyFans. Todd C says, I got mad at my coworker. She actually gave me COVID, though. Yeah, no, listen. Again, being forced to, having to put food on the table, no. fuck that. I ain't taking that shit. I never will. There's people still, like I said, there's people still on their 6th booster and shit like that. I mean, come on, man. Right? Hey, Eric, don't even worry about it. You ain't missing shit. Twitch ain't shit anyway. For real. Todd says, I got mad. She came into work sick. Didn't matter if it was COVID or not. Yeah, right. If you're sick, that's what we did, right? All of a sudden, people started losing their fucking minds. Right? No. If you're sick, don't come into fucking work. It's that simple. All right. So, this is Starbucks in Chicago, Illinois. People are asking for them to be called out. Now, look. You know, certain things start to get a little out of, you know, I say out of hand, you know, whatever. But someone asked for a Charlie Kirk's favorite coffee, which is called a Mint Majesty. And the person wrote on the cup, loser, with a smiley face, right? And I'm sure that wasn't the first cup. Right, I'm sure that wasn't the first cup, but you know, Starbucks employees usually have blue hair or rainbow-colored hair or some bullshit like that. I'd say we all know what that shit looks like, right? And so, but, however, you know, Starbucks won't write the name Charlie Kirk on a cup because it's political. I would dare say they probably didn't have any trouble writing other things on cups, right? Again, your average Starbucks employee, you know.
You want 2, honey? 2? Okay.
It's
Hi,
easy.
let me get a grande mint majesty with 2 honeys.
Let me ring up over here, okay?
Okay.
Perfect. What else today?
Oh, that's it.
Perfect. What was the name for the order? Or actually, what do you need to make?
The name is Charlie Kirk.
We can't do political names, but it didn't even ask for a name to begin with, so it's going to be $3.75, okay?
Oh, but can you write the name on the cup?
The sticker won't print.
Oh, you can't write on it?
The sticker won't print. The sticker won't print. Fuck, Starbucks. Come on, man. There is no I would love to go back. I had so much stuff saved. I'd love to go back and find out the shit that they would write on cups. That they would put on there.
Good, but I can write Charlie.
Why can't you write the whole name?
Because it's political.
Political?
Yes, yeah. Let me start your pizzeria, okay?
Man, see how quickly she ran to the back counter to start making that shit? And see, these people, they have no idea, right? They have no idea. Look, I don't know what the fuck Mint Majesty is. I really don't give a shit, right? I really don't. But it's fascinating to me. It really is. All right, last thing. Hopefully it's not too loud, man. Instagram's kind of weird when you're trying to play shit like that. Last thing, and then I got to get out of here because I do have to work tomorrow, and so. But hopefully, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me tonight. Again, my opinions alone, but that's how I feel. So, I appreciate you guys hanging out and listening. Hey, spread the word, man. Spread the word. You think anybody would like to yeah, exactly. Held no office, so technically not political, but. Starbucks is trying to probably distance themselves, but I guarantee if somebody came in there and they wanted Planned Parenthood written on their fucking cup, or they wanted some other bullshit like that written on their cup, they'd have no problem doing it. I guarantee you they'd have no problem doing it. Remember, don't bend the knee to the wokies. Okay, don't bend the fucking knee, because if you do, you'll always have to. Okay, last video. I thought this one was pretty funny. And this one, this one definitely, I think you guys will get a kick out of. If I can come on, get the play. And then I'm trying to recall, and I appreciate it, Todd. And I will let my inner beaver out. I promise you that. next Joe Fest for sure. God, look, you guys have sent me so many posts and so many videos that it's so hard for me to remember who sent me this one. So I apologize for not, remembering. But I'll go ahead and play this for you guys, and then I'm going to get out of here, all right?
I've come here to kill you, Hitler. Soon, we will be able to take back the White House, and we will be able to use the government to force people to follow our great ideas.
You want to use government power to force your ideas on the populace. Me too!
You and I have nothing in common. What I'm saying is there are people in our time with dangerous ideas, and we need to silence them.
Silencing those who disagree with you. I do that too! Oh, wunderbar!
What I'm trying to say is we are very close to implementing a utopia, as long as we can get rid of some certain undesirable people groups.
Yes, like the Jews!
Yes, like the Jews! Oh.
Ah, the Nazi movement will not die with me.
Don't give me that! I'm enlightened, and you're as bad as... well, as Hitler.
And when you put it all together and you start sifting through the words and sifting through the bullshit, you'll find that they literally have no idea what they're talking about. But all those buzzwords, man, all those buzzwords make them seem like they're so so smart. I'm going to drop a link to a video, and there's many of these. Okay, there's many of these, but I'm going to drop one right here. This is some of Charlie's best comebacks, debates, moments, and there's a million of them. You can find a million of them. Graf, what's going on, man? Good to see you. But let's see. Oh, yeah, hey, no worries, my friend. I'm usually pretty good off the cuff on that stuff, Todd C. But anyway, look, free marketplace of ideas. You're more than welcome to come in and comment and talk. Love it. Again, I'm not a fan of threatening people or anything like that. But again, I'm open. I'm not a banner. I don't like banning people. I don't like going down that route unless it really was something that was heinous and it was called for. But I'm all about you guys coming in and saying what you feel. And this has been a very polarizing thing. I mean, for sure. So by all means, I love it. I love the discussion. And yeah, we don't all agree, but at the end of the day, we should be able to go back home, lay in our own bed or whatever, and wake up the next day without fearing for our lives. And that's the sad part about all of this. I will be doing a stream on Tuesday night, you guys, the Evening Blend. I got to say a prayer for Matthew, T's and P's for Matthew. I don't know if he'll be joining me Tuesday night. That's something that he will have to decide as far as what he's got going on. I don't really want to, get into that. That's kind of his business. But I will be back Tuesday night. And then, let's see. Got to work Wednesday. Got to work Thursday. Off this weekend. I guess I'll be back next Sunday unless something changes. And we'll see. But really do appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. I know this was a long one, but I had fun doing it. And if you guys are willing to sit and hear me ramble and all that good stuff, then it's much appreciated. Y'all have a good rest of your evening, morning, and I'll see you Tuesday night if you tune in for the Evening Blend at 10 Eastern. Make sure you check out Krusty Old Crow and 3-Star Draw, the Backyard Battlefield on Wednesday on 3-Star Draw's channel. Other than that, man, I will see y'all next time. Thank you.